Hi guys, it's me again, and today I want to talk about my favorite topic, internet censorship. And you know what's really upsetting? The fact that every single other government in the world seems to have that in common with me. Every other government right now is making laws, rules, and regulations for what can and can't be on the internet. And there is a little phrase that my mom used to always tell me, and it used to be, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But here's the thing, these people don't have good intentions. They say it's for the kids. Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, sure. You don't want to have kids on social media. You don't want to have kids looking at certain weird stuff. Very true. But let's be honest. The real reason why they're doing it is the same reason why YouTube removed dislikes. It's very simply because companies that are running advertising campaigns, pushing narratives and social agendas that aren't popular, and also governments that are doing the exact same thing, were upset and getting their feelings hurt because the people had the power of consensus. The people had the power of assembly, and they would assemble on that little red line on the bottom of a video, and it would show everybody else that this is bullshit. How many times have you guys read an article and you thought to yourself, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever read in my entire life, and you scroll down to the comment section and the top comment says the exact thing that you think, and you're like, okay, I'm not crazy. Well, guess what? How do you solve that problem if you're the company? Do you write better articles? Absolutely not. No, of course not. You delete the comments section. And that's what they're trying to do with the entire internet. We used to have, back in the ancient days, in the ancient texts, every website used to begin with www, World Wide Web. And I think we're losing those first two W's, and I think that's a big fucking L. The fact is that we are going to be moving towards a world and a society where different internets are siloed off based off of region. This is already happening. Look at what happened with, for example, Twitch and South Korea. Now South Korean websites are pretty much unique, and they do their own thing by themselves. This, in my opinion, is just a precursor of what's going to happen all across at least the Western world. Now, whenever I have conversations about this, I'm having conversations about this from the context of an American, okay? We have more freedom of speech than many other people in the world. And so when I say something like, the reality is, I think, and this is the truth, okay? You might not like this, you might not want to hear it, but if you're realistic and you take your fucking idealism cap off just for a second, you're going to realize this is true. We're going to have real ID on the internet. It's going to happen. You might not like it. I don't necessarily like it, but it's going to happen. And it's not going to be in 20 years. It probably won't even be in 10 years. It'll probably be sooner than that. And I wouldn't be surprised if things keep going the way that I think they are, that it happens even sooner than that. We're having this happen with social media. You had Spotify, and you had YouTube too. And YouTube and Spotify are asking for your IDs now to make sure that you're not underage. And they have an AI checking system. So if you say it's lit or on God, you instantly get sent to YouTube Kids, which honestly, I kind of think that's doing everybody a favor, right? But the reality is that YouTube and Spotify shouldn't be the ones that are doing this. They should not be the ones handling your driver's licenses. They shouldn't be the ones handling your personal information. How'd that go with the T app, by the way? So in case anybody doesn't know, the T app was an app made for fat, ugly, middle-aged women to post pictures and henpeck men who didn't call them back after the first date because of the obvious reasons. And guess what happened? Well, in the most pristine and pure version of karma possible, all of these women who had their information, were putting out their information to, basically like posting the public information of these men against or without their consent, had all of their public information and private information leaked completely to the public. And now you saw the pictures of all the people, and man, oh my God, like stereotypes exist sometimes for a reason. And so anyway, this happened, and I'm not going to say it's a hack because there was no security, there was nothing. The guy that was running this app, apparently, I heard that after he gets done running this app, Sony's going to hire him for their privacy division. So that's pretty much where we're at now. And I don't want to have YouTube get hacked. I don't want to have Spotify get hacked. The reality is that we need some degree of authentication token, verification, or some sort of third-party thing that verifies that maybe you are an adult or you are an actual person, you are are above this age, but it does not provide that information to the end user or the end company that's actually trying to verify this. We need a validation token system. And if we don't have this, and I know people might say, no, we're not going to have any of this, it's bad. You're going to get it, okay? It's going to happen. You can get mad at me all you want, but just wait and see. So I think we need a validation system. We need a way that has actual accountability to make sure that people just don't get their shit leaked when one of these accounts or one of these websites gets leaked. Anything can get hacked, but I would much rather put my trust in some part of like third party like security system or something like that rather than a T-app or something like that that's just basically outsourcing its security to squirrels. And so anyway, that's where actually, that's not true. Squirrels are really good at hiding nuts. This person didn't even do that. But anyway, I was just thinking about this. The fact is that, yes, this is where things are going, and the internet is doing this. Why is this happening? It's not happening to protect the kids. It's happening to protect the people and the companies that are in power to make sure that narratives go unchallenged. And if you don't, the thing is, like, I don't even have to make a 1984 analogy because we can just make a 2020 analogy. Look at what happened with COVID. Do you even for a second think that's not what's happening? Of course it is. It's happening right in front of us because it just got done happening. And do you really think that all the people are like, the censorship game's up. Well, I guess it's time to go home and let's have everybody have freedom of speech now. No, they're planning their next method and their next move. And guess what? They just showed us our side of the board, their side of the board. This is what's happening right now. And I'm very concerned about this because I don't want to see the internet siloed away. I think that one of the best and most enriching things about the internet is the fact that everybody in the whole world
This influencer, who many are now referring to as a crypto scammer, just got exposed for exploiting his friendship with one of the biggest streamers in the world, then throwing him under the bus. The only issue is there's been a history of him building a career off of dirty money, and this exact practice is what ended with
passed by a girl. Let me guess, the end of this video is going to be a crash.
How you like that?
That's crazy. What are the odds? What are the odds? Wow. You just got passed by a girl?
This influencer, who many are now referring to as a crypto scammer, just got exposed for exploiting his friendship with one of the biggest streamers in the world, then throwing him under the bus. The only issue is there's been a history of him building a career off of dirty money, and this exact practice is what ended with him stepping down as CEO from FaZe. So this is Banks, the CEO, or well now, ex-CEO of a massive gaming organization by the name of FaZe Clan. And as of the other day, messages were leaked that show that he actively took part in what many people are calling a huge crypto scam, and he exploited his friend Aiden Ross in the process. He also announced that he would be stepping back from FaZe Clan entirely. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that he didn't realize this was coming with the way he's been moving over the span of his career, because obviously there is a lot to unpack here, so let's start with the basic backstory. So as previously stated, Ricky, or Banks, was the CEO and co-founder of the gaming organization by the name of FaZe Clan. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video grew up watching these guys, so I don't really think I have to go too much into detail here. But long story short, FaZe Clan started as a Call of Duty trickshotting team that spiraled into a massive worldwide brand that has worked and helped grow some of the largest social media personalities in the world. However, FaZe and FaZe Banks have had quite a few controversies since the beginning. Allegedly, back in 2015, FaZe Banks and a handful of others co-owned a Counter-Strike gambling site called CSGO Wild. From reports, this site earned up to $200,000 a day. And you're probably thinking, well, that seems fine, but he never declared that he was owner until 2020. So essentially, he spent 4 years denying that he was a part of it. And this likely had a lot to do with the backlash that T. Martin and Syndicate got from being a part of making a similar Counter-Strike gambling site called CSGO Lotto. Obviously, this turned into a massive legal and PR nightmare for them, but they ended up settling and essentially getting away with a slap on the wrist in the eyes of the law. But in the online communities, it's safe to say they took a pretty big hit to their careers for a while at least. Even though, at least back in that day, CSGO and CSGO gambling was extremely normalized within the gaming communities. But Banks finally admitted that he was an owner in 2020 of CSGO Wild. He explained that his motivation behind CSGO Wild was making enough money to purchase the CSGO team. So alongside with other FaZe members, they promoted the site with clear knowledge that Banks owned it. But then to somehow make things worse, the site failed to use a provable fair system. And that they were actually publicly outed for by various sources for manipulating the outcomes of the bets. Then on top of that, they allegedly didn't pay the site designer. So not only did they promote gambling to kids, but they also allegedly scammed a kid in the process. So clearly, this is not a good look. The CSGO Wild TLDR is allegedly a lot of FaZe members, including Banks, who allegedly owned the site, promoted an illegal gambling website to their child audience. They got them to spend their money, and then they also allegedly rigged the odds in their favor. TDM Hazes actually made a great video covering this topic, and I'll be linking that video in the description down below. But moving on after that, this started a whole new era of FaZe. Banks had a pretty viral crash out on Snapchat of him in Europe. Many claimed this was due to substance abuse problems after falling into an unimaginable amounts of money from CSGO Wild. But he ended up very publicly leaving FaZe here.
I'm not joking on Twitter. I'm being 100% serious. And I'm happy with my decision. If you want to delete me on Snapchat, if you want to follow me on Twitter, if you want to hate me, do it all, man. Just keep that negative away. That's it. Goodbye. I'm getting so many tweets about the tattoo. The tattoo is on my body forever. I'm glad it's on my body forever. FaZe was the coolest time of my life. FaZe up.
And here's the more formal tweet that he posted about this move back in 2016. But most of the FaZe guys, they ended up moving out to LA. And Banks also ended up moving to LA a little bit later, starting the Clout House with RiceGum and Alyssa Violet. Meanwhile, at this time, FaZe got connected with a shady, at best, Norwegian entrepreneur. And this guy is known for lying a lot, to put it lightly, within the Norwegian esports scene. But clearly, he's a smooth talker, and after meeting one of the founding members on FaZe on a plane and lying to him about who he knew, FaZe decided to move forward and bring him into the company. This guy was an absolute nightmare for FaZe. He allegedly ended up scamming the FaZe guys in multiple ways. First, from what I've heard, he ended up pitching them the startup of his. He ended up raising a bunch of money from the internal FaZe group, then nothing came from that startup. Some of the members even threw him hundreds of thousands of dollars towards this startup. And then you have the second thing, which many can refer to as a scam, is by the way he influenced FaZe, which eventually turned the company into a pump and dump for private equity that got their big cash out after FaZe Clan was SPAC'd out onto the stock market. And I'm not sure if he was actually still involved or had shares when they finally SPAC'd and went onto the public market, but I do know he asked a FaZe member while that FaZe member was in the hospital if his wife could borrow his car. But fun fact though, from what I know, none of the original FaZe Clan members made money from FaZe going live on the stock market, as they couldn't sell because their shares were locked up. But after the stock market hit, that was kind of towards the end of Big FaZe, at least, because it all came down collapsing after that, because the company was burning way more money than they could ever earn. And the stock essentially dropped 99%. And Big FaZe Clan doesn't exist, by the way. It's just what I'm calling the bloated private equity version of FaZe that basically everyone within the community was not a fan of. Now, you still have a private equity version of FaZe, but this one is very different from what was running it in 2019, 2020, 2021, and so on. But obviously, other things happened during that time that hurt the reputation of both FaZe Clan and Banks, like the Tfue contract, where FaZe Clan drafted a very unfair exploitative contract that they could take up to 80% of the revenue from his brand deals. And that became public after Tfue sued FaZe Clan in 2019. And what's so interesting about this is like the 80-20 split between creators and talent agencies, that's very normal, except it's 80% to the creator, 20% to the agency. This is opposite. This was 20% to Tfue, 80% to FaZe Clan. Now, from everyone I've talked to, FaZe never executed on that contract. They never actually held that contract to the state, aka they never took the 80% cut from his deals. But obviously the elephant in the room here is they could if they wanted to, and that's a massive problem. And many people blame Banks here for this, but I don't think he had anything to do with it at all. I would be looking at Seabass way before I would be looking at Banks when it comes to this stuff. Even though that Seabass would just be a cog in the massive machine that was the bloated private equity version of FaZe back then. But what I will say is Banks was definitely at fault with his involvement with Banks Social, because in May of 2021, Banks tweeted in support of this project called Banks Social, calling it, in quote, a project I F with heavily and truly believe this is the next one to pop. He then ran a $10,000 giveaway with that project, which obviously caused the token to pump, then immediately dump right after. Banks then deleted the tweets, got called out for it, then claimed that he never sold any of his B Social tokens and that he didn't participate in any pump and dump. And I mean, that's cool and all, but he should have also understood how irresponsible that was to begin with. Then you also had the whole Save the Kids situation, because in June of 2021, multiple FaZe members promoted a crypto coin that was promoted as a charity. However, immediately after launching the coin, it crashed by over 90%. People immediately started looking at the transactions on the blockchain and very soon after realized that the members were directly involved. FaZe and Banks were quickly to distance themselves from this whole scandal and claim they had zero involvement or knowledge of the scam. And from what I can tell, this is still true. These members who did this were fired and kicked immediately. But another thing I wanted to quickly add, as I mentioned earlier, revolving FaZe Clan and Big FaZe, because in 2022, FaZe became a public traded company, essentially meaning that the company's ownership could be distributed with the general public. If you ask anyone about FaZe around this time, they would say something around the lines of FaZe became corporate. This is in reference to the bloated private equity version of FaZe I've been talking about. But obviously the massive problem with that was the same uniqueness that made FaZe what it is essentially gone. And only a year later, the stock had completely collapsed, causing the former CEO to get terminated. FaZe was then acquired by GameSquare Holding, which ended up later on appointing Banks as FaZe's new CEO. And this was after Banks bought a 25% ownership into FaZe Media for $9.5 million. And what's important here is he bought into FaZe Media, not their esports side of the business. So why is this relevant? Well, Banks rebranded FaZe, brought on a new generation of FaZe talent, moved them into a stream house, and tried to make this like new age version of the old FaZe house. And I would say all around, that was a massive success for FaZe. But unfortunately, that was only one of 2 streamer houses that he started. He also had this other group called Probably Nothing. And here you have a handful of other members. Frank D-Gods, Thread Guy, OG Shoots, Rasmer. I think that was everyone. I could be missing some. But some of them are relevant because of what happens later on in this video. And overall, Probably Nothing, I think, turned into being way more of a headache than what it was worth it for Banks, because you constantly had moments like this on various live streams.
Today, and Banks is always early.
Wow.
Think about that's the simple science.
Wow.
Right? Banks bought Goat and Zero Bro today.
Banks is always
Shout out to
early.
your boys, my Zero Bros, and
Banks is always early.
Banks is always early. So what you guys do the math?
Because if anything, a lot of their live streams just made them come across as very shady, to put it lightly. And it also really did not help that a lot of the stuff they were buying and hyping up on their live streams kind of turned into what their name was, worth probably nothing. But you may have seen these people in the stream with Aiden Ross while he bought the meme coin MLG. And I guess you would also see them in that leaked Hawktua episode where they were trying to like do damage control for a Hawktua girl. But the latter is kind of irrelevant. It's the stream with Aiden and these Probably Nothing guys that got us here in the situation today. Because what a lot of people may be asking is, WTF is MLG coin? Well, MLG stands for Major League Gaming,
so
which originally started...
that I think that there's no way Twitch will get worse, it does. And guys, everything that I'm about to show you isn't my opinion. These are provable facts, even admissions by the CEO himself. Now, in case you don't know why I don't like this platform so much, and while I stream on it every single day, as well as I stream on YouTube and Kick, is due to the fact that I've had a very iffy past with Twitch. Now, when I was a part of OTK, a man by the name of Rich Campbell says that you will never be banned on Twitch. And I was like, why is that? He's like, I'm not going to say why, but trust me, you can do whatever you want and you'll never get banned. And I said, oh, okay. All right, great. Anyways, that guy got fucked over tremendously. I got no idea what's going on with that guy. Last time I heard, he didn't do the shit he was accused of, but I got no fucking idea, and the guy won't respond to my messages. But Rich, feel free to DM me if you ever want. I don't know what's going on with that shit, although I do know he's probably chilling in a fucking castle, banging a porn star, going to Disney World every day, so who knows? But I've been banned on this platform more times than I'd like to admit, and I will say I've only been banned from Twitch. Wait, out of curiosity, has anybody a part of OTK been banned while a part of OTK? No, Extra Emily did. Extra Emily did. Okay. I'm so confused because when I was in OTK, I was doing the same shit, but my ass never got banned. Yeah, Asmin got banned too, but I don't know why. He was so confident. And for 3 years, I never got banned doing the most debaucherous shit. But anyways, I'm getting fucking sidetracked. My conspiracy theory hat is going off like crazy right now because I don't know why the fuck I'm getting banned so fucking much. Anyways, I call a fat bitch fat. I call an OnlyFans girl a whore. And in total, I get banned for around 4 fucking weeks. I tell a viewer to kill himself. That one I deserved. I deserved that one. I deserve to get banned for that one. But anyways, call a fat bitch fat. I call an OnlyFans girl a whore after they call me a rapist, by the way. They didn't get banned. I did. So that's been very fun. But I hate this fucking platform. And the reason why that is because they don't properly enforce their TOS. And when you don't do that, it leads to a lot of agenda pushing. And that's not good to have on any platform. So there's a new issue that we're finally addressing. Let me rephrase that. It's an old issue that we're now finally paying attention to by the word of viewbots. Now, viewbots is something that I myself am very familiar with due to an old channel by the name of Fextra Life. Now, a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if you guys remember on Steak and Eggs, but Asmund Gold and I were
with hosting Halo and Smash Bros tournaments. It actually became the first televised esports league in 2006, and eventually they added Call of Duty, StarCraft, and League of Legends to its programming before it was finally acquired by Activision Blizzard. And like many things that touched that company, it was all downhill from there, at least for the company. Online culture, they had other plans. They took its branding and merged it with satirical gaming culture, and then you had people like Snipers, Pyrocynical, and Roman, and many others that repopularized the MLG name alongside of Mountain Dew, Doritos, hit markers, joints, and Snoop Dogg. And it's safe to say that that ran its course until the cow was completely milked dry by late 2016, early 2017, and that's at a stretch. So fast forward like what, 7 or 8 years until crypto hell. A website called Pump Fund launched, where any moron could launch their own crypto token with just a few clicks. And someone launched a coin called MLG. And this is clearly not associated to Major League Gaming, Activision Blizzard, or any of the original MLG montage YouTubers. Banks, for some reason, I guess, saw this bundled coin and decided that he was going to make this his identity and shill it pretty aggressively. And this is even though it was extremely bundled. According to Bubble Maps here, more than 25% of the supply was in control by a handful of people by the time banks started buying into it. So here's a screenshot of the wallets in control of MLG coin the days he was buying it to begin with. And obviously, I know for any normal person looking at this, you're probably like, what? So TLDR, this is a normal wallet. TLDR, this is a normal wallet. And this is someone or a group of people who has spread out their tokens between a whole bunch of wallets, trying to make it look like they don't own as much of the token as they really do. That right there is called a bundle or a cluster, which will become important later on in this video. And fast forward a few months, Aiden, obviously still upset about this situation, had a rant about it on stream, but he didn't mention banks directly.
MLG is up, you're good. Ban him out of my chat. Aladog, you're a sucking beast, bro. All those crypto kids, they're nowhere to be found, bro. They stole millions of dollars from innocent people, bro. We don't see about them anymore, hang around them anymore. They're nowhere to be found, bro. Them. What the f have they been on, bro? They're like hiding away somewhere underground. It's fucking insane, bro. They bought like bunkers and
So obviously, Banks was called a scammer by a bunch of people because he stupidly made a coin his identity and kept promoting it to his followers. He was also the one who brought this coin to both Aiden Ross and his fans. And one day, I guess he just broke and sent this really weird message to the MLG chat blaming Aiden Ross for the reason it collapsed. Aiden Ross effed this up. This community dumped on him buying, used him as exit liquidity. His ego got hurt, blamed Frank. Him and Frank got into it privately. Aiden despises Frank and spins and drives a narrative about Frank selling. Somehow this falls on me and the threads to farm. The whole situation spins into me selling and dumping coins. When I ran this thing up from $3 million to $200 million, organically, top blasted multiple times, invested a F ton of money, and never ever ever sold. The only bad actor in this entire thing is Aiden. Point blank, period. Hold up, what? Why would you ever say this about your friend that you convinced to buy? The only reason Aiden was in this project is because you flew out to Florida and had him buy it on stream. What is going on here? So obviously Banks got a lot of backlash for that. So he responds with, I've never scammed anyone a day in my life. The entire narrative is unfair, and a part of the reason it exists is cause my FaZe name is so easily farmed and manipulated. The fact this is affecting the guys at all is whack. So for the time being, I'm gonna be stepping away from not only FaZe, but all of this internet. It's destroying my life inside and out. Sucks my entire life gets ruined over something I didn't even do. The real ones know. I wish I could say I'll be back, but I really don't know if I will. Okay, so that tweet has since been deleted. But an old roommate and teammate of his, FaZe Rain, chimed in with this.
I mean, I saw a lot what Banks said. I saw the way he's going about defending himself, but one thing I haven't seen him say is if those DMs are real or not, what he said in the chat. It seems like he's kind of dancing around that topic. Like we all make mistakes, but it's all about taking accountability for a lot of stuff, right? It's like, hey bro, like I said that, my fault, I was wrong. I threw you under the bus when, you know, I should take blame for that. I made that stream happen. Like, bro, I genuinely couldn't believe it when I saw that message, especially like the way it was worded. When I read that shit at the end saying there's only one bad actor in this and it's Aiden, I was like, what the like that was a crazy thing to read, right?
And then to make things even worse, the guys behind the MLG coin claims Banks tried to cut them out several times and take control of the project. So that shows that he had a lot more, or tried to have a lot more, to do with the project than what he was leading on to. And then some loose allegations towards Aiden Ross's manager started to come out, claiming that Aiden Ross's manager used to work with FaZe for many years. And then they provided some out of context clip of Aiden saying that the manager owed Aiden money for all this bank stuff.
Bob, you owe me money for the crypto with banks, where someone tried to impersonate banks and you vouched.
So how out of context that is, I'm not sure, but it does become relevant later on in this video. But Aiden then responded to this whole situation by saying the bank screenshot is real. It's sad. If you guys think that MLG being rugged was me, I'm sorry to tell you it wasn't. There's a reason that entire house is silent. Truth will come out eventually. I'm just more hurt on the fact someone I call my brother is behind my back. So obviously, Banks then got even more backlash. So then he went back to Twitter and he said, for the time being, I'm going to be stepping away from not only FaZe, but all the internet. It's destroying my life inside and out. FaZe Rug ironically had absolutely nothing to do with that, though. That's just a very unfortunate name in today's crypto age. Banks did go on to Aiden Ross's stream where he had plenty of things to say. And watching this stream is honestly kind of crazy because I'm shocked at how easy it was for Banks to just direct this conversation with Aiden. Like, there was zero pushback from Aiden here at all. Because I'm pretty sure the whole thing was supposed to be Aiden confronting Banks about what happened, but instead, Banks just kind of sweet talks and gaslights him for an hour, and it's almost like Aiden just kind of bought it, or at least he did so while on call.
Yeah.
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 How did we get in this mess, man?
You got everyone in this mess. What are you talking about, dude?
And it just started from you speaking, behind my back.
I know. We'll get to the text. Obviously, I'm just saying. Me and you have known each other for how long?
Years. We have a lot of history together.
Years and years and years. We live together. We could talk to each other about anything. Me and you have had one issue between each other our entire lives, the entire time knowing you. What is it?
What? I don't know.
MLG.
Oh.
This whole MLG thing. The only time me and you have had any weird energy, all this weird back and forth, the miscommunications, the talking between Tav, has been over the stream that we did 6 months ago. And this whole narrative around Frank and everybody in that room scamming people. And for the last 6 months, Frank's been getting farmed to be some kind of scammer. This MLG thing goes to zero. It looks horrible on everybody involved. I am the only person with any sort of namesake. Me and you have a real relationship. So now a narrative forms where it's like I'm scamming. It makes it look weird between me and you. Me and you get on the phone. You tell me, I know you're not scamming. I know you're not scamming. But then these clip pages are posting, Banks is scamming, Banks is scamming. Bro, this thing spirals to the point where I fall for bait. I post in this chat. You read it. It was a whack message. I should have just called you again. But I just feel like the story and all the details of it haven't been properly represented. And everybody involved feels that way.
Okay, so I'm kind of confused in why he didn't immediately apologize for bringing both Aiden and his community into this awful investment. Then somehow blame Aiden for everything. Either Banks is a moron for doing this, or he's pretending to be a moron. Like, he flew out to Florida with a bunch of crypto bros to convince one of the largest streamers in the world, who has an extremely active and pretty young audience, to buy a low cap meme coin. How did he ever think this was going to go over well? Banks is essentially the wolf in sheep's clothing, bringing all the sheep to the other wolves here, because this would be a disaster no matter what. We've already established with bubble maps, the coin was heavily bundled when Banks got into it, so it's not like it would be too different from when you got Aiden into it. So either way, the supply was in control by very few people. What I do want to say though is, I have not been able to find any wallets tied to Banks that have taken profits or sold off any of this MLG coin. I also contacted Bubble Maps about this, and they have not been able to verify anything either as of recording this video. So at least for now, it doesn't look like Banks used MLG coin to make money. If anything, it seems like he lost not only money on it, but also a lot of career reputation here. So I'm leaning to the side that Banks was just being a moron here, and they really thought this coin was going to go into the multiple billions of dollars and that they would all make money somehow.
Listen, let me put it into context for everybody. And this is all facts. Aiden, fact check me or not, call me out, whatever. I mean, after the last 48 hours, what we've gone through together, we all know where we're at, and we all know what facts are facts. Facts?
What does that even mean, dude?
We fly to Florida to do a crypto stream. All of us, right? You expressed interest in buying MLG. Do you remember what I said on that? The VOD should still exist. Do you remember what I said when people started talking about buying it on stream? Do you remember what I said?
I don't. I didn't watch the stream. I haven't watched the stream back.
Somebody go find the VOD and clip it if you want. I said not to buy it on stream. You remember that?
Yeah, I watched that entire stream and I did not hear him say that.
The moment you bought it on stream, the truth is the community dumped the coin. It doesn't even logically make sense that anyone in that room dumped the coin. It doesn't make sense. Our wallets trading it are public with millions of dollars in it. Why would we give that up? Why would we start dumping it live on stream to lose millions of dollars? It doesn't even logically make sense, first of all.
Okay, he put himself in this really bad situation because obviously we can see he didn't sell until the other day. But also, sadly, it's almost impossible for us to verify if he had any other alt wallets, if he had decent wallet hygiene. So either way, this should be the biggest wake-up call for all influencers to never endorse or market any microcap. They are microcap, honestly. Any microcap projects, especially if the only use case of the project is number of investment go up. That's a Ponzi, and it's 100% a certifiable way to destroy your reputation.
You never thought I scammed you anyways, period. It was always between the other guys. That's what you always said.
I will say this, yes. I thought I was under the impression because people were telling me that I got scammed by the other people in the room. Yes, that's what I.
And by the way, that's completely and entirely fair. And then I'm stuck in a spot where nobody gives a to farm these kids' names. So it's FaZe Banks and his crypto friends are scamming Aiden Ross. You understand what my position in it? Obviously, like where I'm at there.
It's because you're affiliated, and I understand.
Yes. Okay, so I get looped in this, and then we get into this loop, and it obviously puts weird energy between us.
No, I know. I agree. It's definitely weird between us.
And honestly, it's not any more spicy than that. Nobody ran away with millions of dollars. Aiden lost 50 racks even. I lost 100K. Frank lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. People made millions of dollars off this coin, by the way. I bought this at $3 million, fully endorsed it, fully backed it, ran with this narrative that it's the gamer coin. It was a legitimate community with an amazing narrative during a good time in crypto. And unironically, you marked the top.
Yeah, so here he just kind of admitted that he brought the sheep into their final destination with that stream.
You and I have had a weird relationship for the past 6 months, to be honest.
Facts. We've been talking through Top. We've been not talking as much. It's been weird. It's all based around this thing, and real emotions are involved. You guys got to keep in mind, the people watching the stream, this isn't some like PR scripted thing. Me and Aiden really have real history. I met this kid before he had 10 viewers. We were taking pictures at bars. He's asking me for pictures. And then he came and lived with me and Rice. And we like really came up together on some and like that's real. Never had an issue. Aiden, me and you have never had a singular problem since before this.
Dude, it's just like I said, like I obviously like I've always looked up to you as like my older brother. Like you know that. But
and I've always loved you. I've slid for you. I've been there for you too.
But literally 2 days ago, he completely throws his so-called day one friend that he came up together with under the bus, even though it was him that got his friend into this whole MLG thing in the first place. This whole conversation just seems so manipulative.
And Aiden, to both of our credit, how many times did you say, yo, this guy said it's a good idea if I drop a coin? And what did I say to you every time?
Yeah, that's true. You said no.
I said, no, Aiden, we can't do that. If anybody was in a scam mindset, by the way, that's the scam. For the people who don't want to understand the nuances of crypto, it doesn't logically make sense. We're live sitting there. We're dumping a coin live, physically behind your back, and just losing millions of dollars on in other wallets. We have these secret side wallets.
The conclusion I'm having with this is they were both acting like morons here and not scamming. Although the bar is set very low when we're like, well, at least we didn't launch our own crypto token.
I came out the cut to help bring the face back. I think we did that. I'm good. These boys got it from here. I'm 33 years old. I don't have a kid. I'm a bum by everybody else's standards, so I'm going to just focus on that.
But I think dwelling on that, you know, I don't know.
It's not even a dwelling thing. Genuinely, brother, I'm happy. Again, all I care about is my real relationships.
Okay, so he was publicly outed for throwing his friend under the bus, and then I guess now he's retiring, which is why I'm referring to both the gambling money and the meme coin money, which is also pretty much gambling money as well, dirty money. Because this led a dude who's in the top 0.1% of net worth in the world to throw a friend that he calls a day one friend and family under the bus. That's dirty no matter what you call it, because this is why I'm saying he built and destroyed his career off of dirty money.
How we fell in this in the first place is I fell for bait. I read into a tweet, you scammed your friend Aiden Ross, you piece of shit. This kid had MLG in his name. So I went into the MLG chat. I said, yo, I'm just going to let you guys all know. I'm about to sell this whole thing. I've held this thing to zero. And I got people in this community saying like this and just went off, threw you under the bus. Honestly, dude, say whatever you want. If they want you to rip me apart and you're going to rip me apart for the sake of a community wanting to rip me apart.
They want me to go deep on you, bro. They want me to go deep on you how I do with like the Doechis and like all these other people on the internet. But it's like I have a real history.
That's not real, but that's not reality.
I have a real history with you. That's why I'm like, I'm just hurt.
I mean, honestly, there's nothing Banks said here that made sense to why he would throw Aiden under the bus here. But he does go on to kind of take some accountability.
I don't blame you whatsoever. Like you tried your best. Nobody's blaming anybody, bro. I'm not saying it's your fault. To be honest with you, it's 100% my fault.
You know me, bro.
Let me get this off real quick. I should never ever have talked about any coin or any asset as like unreliable or whatever. Like I don't even know what the word is for this, but there's a reason why since this has happened, I'm on some buy Bitcoin, crypto punks. I'm not talking about anything else.
Volatile and low market cap might be the words he was looking for, but either way, at the end of the day, both of these guys are at fault here for doing a stream like this, endorsing a low market cap crypto coin in front of so many people. And it seems like they realize this now. But a clip from the interview that really gave me whiplash was this.
The majority of my day yesterday on the phone with everybody from family to phase members to employees to my friends and everybody across the board that I care about, that I work with, that I have any meaningful relationship with, loves me, knows who I am, and this hasn't changed anything. As long as there's only one person that I have weird energy in the air with, and it's you.
Dude, you didn't throw any of them under the bus. What are you talking about? Of course they don't feel like that to you. You didn't throw them under the bus. No one, Aiden has all the rights in the world to feel like that to you. That doesn't make sense. Also, I kind of got suspicious about this clip.
Can I ask you a question?
Anything, brother. Anything.
What does bundled mean? What does that mean in crypto? I don't know what that means. Like a bundle?
I'm not super familiar either. I think it's when a bunch of wallets adjacent and close to each other and have traded back and forth between each other own, like, to be honest, I can't speak to it. That would be a question that I would ask. Like,
yeah, because I don't know anything about these terms either. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in the ballpark there, but what's odd about this is he referred to bundles 24 hours later. So I guess enough of that. Remember the allegations about Aiden Ross's manager, Tov? Well, Aiden just announced that he fired that manager.
Guys, as you guys have been sticking around me for a very long time, you know I've been dealing with a lot of bullshit behind the scenes. So I'm just gonna let you guys know that Tov and I are 100% split ways. I'm not messing with Tov anymore. He's not messing with me. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck and stuff like that. But Aiden and Tov is not a thing. I don't have a manager. I don't have an active manager. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I got this. We got this. By the way, it's all love to Tov. I don't want people. I saw what was going on in the community. I don't want the family y'all were leaving on him and stuff like that. Don't go after people's families. It's nothing to do with him, bro. Honestly, and I don't even gotta tell y'all the details about what happened. It's really nobody's business. I'm just gonna leave it like that.
Then his stream chat wouldn't move on, so he got frustrated.
Hey, guys, with all due respect, please ban Tov's name from my chat and please take out the emote, please. I'm not joking, bro. Let that move on. Let's get past it. No reason for me to bring that back up. Let's just get over it, all right?
Now, obviously, we can speculate what happened as it's perfectly timed up with the recent allegations, but at the end of the day, who knows? Well, the timing's interesting. But Aiden did have some final words for Banks.
It's not about being spineless. It's just about what's the truth and what's not the truth. Cut him off then. It's not your business whether I cut him off or don't cut him off. I don't speak to Banks all the time. We speak here and there, but I consider that somebody that changed my life in many ways. Family to me, bro. Let's not act like he didn't move me in a crib, never charged me for rent, said don't join FaZe Clan because it's ran by a bunch of CEOs and weird people. I have history with him. So sorry I'm not going on stream saying FaZe Bank, let's FaZe Bank. Sorry I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm just going to say I'm hurt. And it was up what he did.
And I guess that's all we have for now. So Banks is no longer the CEO of FaZe. I don't know how long that'll last though, but it looks like his career was both built and destroyed off of dirty money. So hey, if you guys are new here, please subscribe as we cover laughably stupid stuff that unfolds in the internet daily. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace. This TikTok doctor was just put on blast for stealing $1.5 million from his kids, and this led him to delete a bunch of videos and seemingly vanish, almost like he had something to hide. So, meet Dr. Papa. He's blown up on TikTok and Instagram in the recent years in the health space. His popular content is essentially, don't consume this product because of this bad thing inside it. And honestly, that's a never-ending goldmine because there's criticism to make about a lot of the popular food products when it comes to how healthy they actually are for you. But because of his wording, he found himself in a potential legal situation situation with Logan Paul and his drink Prime. And this whole situation stems from this video.
Parents, listen, this is scary. Are your kids drinking this? Class action lawsuit. 3 times the level of forever chemicals, PFAs, found in this. 3 times the level that they consider safe for lifetime exposure is found in this drink. And right now, class action lawsuit, and yet we're still finding it on store shelves. Send the video, share the video. Moms, share it out because we don't want teenage kids. That's who's drinking this, evidently drinking this stuff.
Yeah, so this video got about 10 million views before he deleted it. I'm sure Logan Paul and Prime weren't really a big fan of that video. But what's interesting about this situation is Dr. Pompa is just echoing a lawsuit and what another TikTok lawyer said.
I never thought that Logan Paul and Forever Chemicals would be in the same sentence, but there's actually a class action lawsuit against Prime Energy and Prime Hydration, which are energy drinks and sports drinks that were made by a company called Prime Energy, owned by Logan Paul. And one of the allegations is that Prime Hydration has PFAS and PFOs, forever chemicals, in them. So this is an ongoing lawsuit, and our office was actually recently contacted by a young boy who has leukemia after drinking Prime Hydration, and PFOs and PFAs have been linked to specific types of cancers.
That video is way more concerning for Logan Paul and Prime, as he vaguely links Prime with leukemia. He's since deleted that video alongside of the part 2, which I couldn't find a re-upload of, but I did find a video reacting to it by Food Science Babe, who we actually sourced on this channel before during the Pink Sauce saga. And she also gives us a TLDR on the lawsuit.
Not only is there a lawsuit against Logan Paul's company Prime for there being PFOs, which are forever chemicals, in the Prime hydration drink, but according to the testing done by one of the lawyers for the plaintiff, guess how much PFOs were in the product, in the drink? 3 times the amount that you should have in your lifetime in PFOs from drinking water. In one Prime hydration drink, they found 3 times the amount of PFOs that you should consume in drinking water in your life.
All right, that's not what that level means. I'll get into that in a second, but first I just want to go through this lawsuit a little bit. So this lawsuit against Prime Hydration was filed in August of 2023, and it's against specifically their grape drink. So this is one in a string of similar lawsuits of beverages that are marketed as healthy and using natural ingredients, and these PFAS chemicals are being found in them, and so that's the main reason for the lawsuit, because these PFAS chemicals are considered to be synthetic and artificial when the marketing behind these products is supposed to be healthy and natural.
She also explains the lawyer's misconceptions here.
The lawsuit also alleges that the amount of PFAS found within the product from the plaintiff's testing is approximately 3 times the recommended lifetime health advisory for drinking water, which is 0.02 parts per trillion. So these EPA health advisories are non-regulatory and non-enforceable. 0.02 parts per trillion for PFAS is referring to a concentration in drinking water. This is not referring to a level that a human can have in a lifetime. It's referring to a concentration in drinking water. PFAS is referring are non-regulatory and non-enforceable. 0.02 parts per trillion for PFAS is referring to a concentration in drinking water. This is not referring to a level that a human can have in a lifetime. It's referring to a concentration in drinking water that if a human were to drink water with that level over a lifetime would likely not result in negative health effects. So this does not mean that in one single grape Prime beverage there is 3 times the amount that a human can have in a lifetime.
So right off the bat, that's just not a good look for the lawyer, but it's about to get a lot worse for him as Logan Paul made a response.
First off, anyone can sue anyone at any time. That does not make the lawsuit true, and in this case, it is not. There's claims that PFOS or forever chemicals come from plastic. So in this case, they're not talking about the actual drink, the liquid Prime. They're talking about the bottle that Prime is manufactured in. This ain't a rinky-dink operation. We use the top bottle manufacturers in the United States. All of your favorite beverage brands, Coke, Pepsi, Tropicana, Dr. Pepper, they use these companies. If the product is served in plastic, they make a bottle for them. Accordingly, we follow Title 21 for the Code of Regulations for PET and all other types of bottles. The products are manufactured by our company in a manner compliant with all pertinent current good manufacturing practices by the United States Food and Drug Administration. All of our suppliers use GMP facilities.
Logan Paul has really just been on a streak of having very reasonable responses, and it seems like he's going to continue this in this video. Overall, though, there's just so many pros and cons with plastic, and you can't really blame Prime using the same bottling companies as the other giants.
Let's say they're talking about the drink itself. Here's where their argument really falls apart. Pay attention.
But according to the testing done by one of the lawyers for the plaintiff,
hold it. You saw Goodman or Walter White, brother, because this little study that was conducted by a lawyer is absolute bullshit. They're claiming that Prime has 0.06 ppt, parts per trillion. But that's interesting because the EPA says that anything under 1.1 ppt cannot be deemed as reasonably accurate.
Yeah, we are way over my education level here, and probably Logan's as well, as his team likely found all this information for him. So I can really only take his word here, but he ended this video with this.
We're putting out better for you products. Meanwhile, our competitors are on the cusp of getting banned in the United States. The #1 sports drink in the world just had SKUs banned in California for using dyes linked to cancer. That is a fact. It already happened. The difference with us is one person conducted a random study and has provided zero evidence to substantiate any of their claims. Do y'all remember a while back when they said that the FDA was investigating Prime? It never happened. They never called us because we follow every single guideline and regulation. So Tommy, the TikTok lawyer, 4 videos in, man, farm those views, get those likes, and get a haircut while you're at it. We'll accept an apology within the next 48 hours. Otherwise, you're going to be representing yourself in a miserable courtroom for lying about our brand.
And to that, the TikTok lawyer Tommy responded and turned himself into the human embodiment of a lawn chair.
So as some of you know, and when I say some, I mean about 30 million, I did a video about a week ago talking about a class action lawsuit that was filed against Prime Hydration, which is partly owned by Logan Paul. And in that lawsuit, they allege that there are forever chemicals, PFOS and PFAS, in the Prime Hydration drink. And that video got like over 16 million views. And then several days later, I think yesterday, Logan Paul did a video responding to me that got, I think he's got like 13 million views at this point. So as I've been reflecting and looking at the onslaught of comments that I've gotten, that Logan's gotten, it honestly made me think that I think this might be a good lesson for all of us on social media, that sometimes it's okay to pause, it's okay to reevaluate things, and it's okay to check your position. That doesn't make you weak, that doesn't make you wrong.
Obviously, he doesn't want to get sued by Prime, as it's a massive international corporation now, but he doesn't really leave it at that. He really starts to over-compliment Logan to avoid being sued.
And the truth of the matter is that Logan Paul is a young, gritty entrepreneur. And I respect him because I know, just like he knows, when you're young and you do too well too quick, what happens is you get targets on your back.
Or, you know, launch something called Dink Doink and show it to your audience. But this situation would really be over there, except it's not, because this video is about Dr. Pompa. So remember the video we saw of him earlier saying a similar thing to the TikTok lawyer? Well, Prime sent him a cease and desist, and instead of stepping back and reevaluating like this guy did, he decided to make a backhanded apology and say that Logan Paul wanted to silence him. So Logan essentially went for his throat.
All right, let's talk about it. After I corrected the TikTok lawyer with facts debunking this crap, I never thought I'd have to do the same to a carrot-colored Instagram doctor. You'd think after this guy already got sentenced to 16 years of probation for stealing $1.4 million from his adopted children's trust fund, true story, he'd stop lying for his financial benefit. And I guess it doesn't surprise me that he calls himself a doctor when he's really just a chiropractor whose license has been suspended and is currently considered expired and on probation. So look, obviously we sent this guy cease and desist. I got him to like half apologize, but in the same video, he just doubled down on his bullshit.
Logan Paul from Prime Hydration and Energy Drinks sent me this cease and desist. He was not happy about this video. However, Logan, I do apologize.
He's even getting called out and corrected in his own comment section for spreading misinformation, but now I gotta come on here and expose the guy because he can't tell the difference between a can of Prime Energy and a bottle of Prime Hydration.
But Logan, don't shoot the messenger. I was just bringing the message.
Hey, don't worry, bro. I'm not going to shoot you. But Prime is considering suing you for the millions of dollars of damage you caused to make you file for bankruptcy a second time. Buddy, you don't know a single thing about what you're claiming, but if I ever want to overdose on self-tanner or get my back cracked, I'm coming straight to you. So look, send the video, share the video. Mom, send it out because we don't want our kids being influenced by an Instagram chiropractor who stole $1.4 million from his own children.
Okay, hold up. Yeah, Logan really went for the neck. Yeah, there's no coming back for that if that's actually true. So in response, Dr. Pompa, or Chiropractor Pompa, deleted all of his videos on the Prime situation. So from what I can tell, he hasn't really responded to Logan any further. So my knee-jerk reaction is, hold up, why? Is he hiding something, or does he just not want to get sued? So what did Logan just throw out here in front of tens of millions of people? So there's two big allegations here. Massive TikTok and Instagram doctor influencer, but he's only a chiropractor, and stole $1.5 million from his adopted kids' trust fund. Yeesh. That sounds really bad. Let's start with the first one. Starting off with the social media pages, he is massive on Instagram and pretty big on TikTok. From what I can tell, Logan seems to be accurate about this guy being a chiropractor, but he might not actually even be a chiropractor anymore either. But we'll get into that later on. Going back to his Instagram and TikTok, it seems like these videos are his sales funnels to Pampa Workshop. Whatever it is, it seems to be a sales funnel. He also has something called the Pampa Program, which is a detoxing program, a very high ticket detoxing program, but they also want you to watch a webinar about inflammation and detoxing. It then seems like it leads the customer to a place they can order some testing for a little over $100. Then this turns into another upsell for a full-on detoxing program that costs thousands of dollars, anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 to $15,000. And I found out all this is because when I googled the Pampa program, the Better Business Bureau page came up, and that's just flooded with terrible reviews. So all we can really do here is take this with a pinch of salt as we are reacting to this customer's alleged experience. So the first review here is, I purchased 2 urine tests from Dr. Blank for me and my daughter. We took a very extensive assessment and had a Zoom meeting with one of the advisors. After speaking to this individual for over an hour, she proceeds to tell me that if I was really serious about getting started on this program, I needed to hand over $11,000 that day. She even lightly suggested selling my car or asking family members if I could borrow the money to pay her. It was very strange and uncomfortable for me. She even had me apply for a credit card, but thankfully I was denied because once we got off the call, I realized how bizarre that conversation was, and I was glad I didn't hand over any of my money to her. She said she would call me the following week to see if I had found a way to get the money, but I haven't heard from her since. If this is true, that is some aggressive sales training going on. What is going on there? Oh, hey, if you want this detox program, $11,000 here, and if you can't afford it, maybe sell your car. What? That is so bizarre. No way is that real. Did a consultation with them and my wife today. Wanted to inform everyone how much of a scam this company really is. My wife did her sample trying to get a thyroid issue corrected, but they put this big elaborate show and tell when it came down to it, as the cost was $7,000 to $9,000. Seemed a bit high, but willing to consider it if it helps her. I wanted to research a little bit about their program, and he would not tell me anything about it or how it works, but wanted me to put a $2,000 deposit up front, non-refundable, and as soon as I asked about the refunding money, if the system does not work, he said we needed to go through the whole program and spend a whole amount of money before we were able to seek any kind of refund. But if we did not pay the $2,000 today, we would not have a spot in the line anymore, and we could not come back to the table. Not allowed. As we were on a Zoom call, I researched the company and found this, how they were not refunding anyone's money, and they were not returning any phone calls to anyone. I do believe this may work for someone, but please beware. I find this company to be a scam and nothing more. That is super, super weird. And there are just so many of them. This program causes fear and is pushy about how to open credit cards to pay for the $9,000 detox program. So you have 3 comments in a row basically saying, oh, they either told us to sell a car or open a new credit card to afford this program. What? That just sounds incredibly predatory. The urine test sold to me was the same exact result from multiple people that took it. They're not sick. I don't believe in the accuracy of the test. They tried to convince me to get a credit card even when I stated I didn't have income currently, assuring me if I didn't get help, I'd end up worse. This sales tactic is not okay. I want my money refunded. And there's just pages of reviews like this about their company on bbb.org. I'm trying to find a single positive review on their BBB. To be fair though, I'm assuming like you don't go to bbb.org to write a positive experience, or do you? I don't know. There's another comment here saying, this test is very vague and the treatment process for the program was never discussed, and I cannot afford upwards of $8,000 as a single mom. This is a man with a bachelor's degree calling himself a doctor. Refund needed. There's just so many people begging for refunds on this page. It's insane. You got 9 pages of reviews like this dating back to 2021, with the first one being misleading or predatory practices practices paid over $8,000 for an entire 6-month program, upfront in full, in order to get 20% off. Within the first week of the program, while watching the first video and hearing how imperative it is to maintain ketosis from Dr. P, he went on to say that the needed testing strips weren't provided with cost of the program. Upon going to recommended site, it added an extra $160 for my wife and I per month, or approximately an extra $1,000 of added cost. These costs were not disclosed, and I immediately wondered what other undisclosed costs would be coming in the days and the weeks ahead. I immediately lost confidence in the product and felt like this wasn't an honest company. Trying to cancel has been extremely difficult. I've had to text evidence saying that they would refund me, but they were slow to respond. So I disputed the claim only to have them recharge me 25% cost, saying I was after the 48-hour cancel policy. I canceled as soon as undisclosed costs were found out. Logan Paul is really lucky that people who seem to be a bit worse than him are calling him out, because that's really making him look good in this situation. But I did some more searching because I felt like I accidentally fell down this rabbit hole, and I found an ex-employee, or an alleged ex-employee, who came onto Reddit to say, I used to work there, so let me give you and anyone else wanting to know about the program all the details. The test that you mention is a urine test that simply checks for inflammation. Nearly everyone who takes the test will have it come back pretty dark. What you're actually paying for is a consultation with a sales rep who is usually not very qualified and not very knowledgeable on what they're selling or the rules of the program. Take everything they say with a grain of salt. At the time of writing this, the program costs almost $9,000 for one person, less if you pay it all up front. What you're paying for is supplements, 6 coaching calls, a portal with lots of information about many things outside the program, and support throughout the 5 months you're in the program via live videos with Dr. P and other coaches, as well as being able to talk to others in the program. Is it all worth $9,000? That's up to you to decide. Is the program itself legit, and does it work? I think so. I did it myself, but my problems were very minor in comparison to most people who joined, and the supplements were an entirely different formula then than what they are now. Okay, that's interesting. Keep in mind, though, that detox is not fun, and again, that's coming from someone who didn't have a lot of health problems when starting. More problems equals worse detox experience. A lot of people benefit, but a lot of people have extreme adverse reactions as well. Now, is it legit as in is it scam? That's up to interpretation based on how much you benefit at the end of it. But let's assume that you want to back out at any point after signing out. You will not get the majority of your investment back. It doesn't matter the reason. The company / Dr. P claim to be based in Christian faith and adhere by these awesome core values. But the only way to see them act in a Christian manner, if you want to leave the program, is to threaten legal action. Dr. Pompa has been involved in numerous lawsuits. Most are now buried under ads and fake 5-star reviews. I can vouch that employees were getting paid at one point to write 5-star reviews. Or he utilizes the fact that most people don't know of his previous businesses that were sued in the past. He and his family go to church, yes, but they are not truly Christian. I really believe that they are severely mentally ill and don't think that many of their beliefs or practices or how they treat others are wrong. All this being said, could the program work for you? Absolutely. Is it a guarantee? Definitely not. If you have strong morals or values, I'd recommend finding someone else to work with, or even just using the free resources that Dr. P has on his YouTube. He got his license taken away, but he is very knowledgeable about health, albeit extreme at times. If you're willing to put morals to the side and you're okay with possibly losing almost 10 grand to experiment, I'd say it may be worth to give the program a shot. Okay. Wait, so did he lose his chiropractor license? Also, this is alleged. This is an anonymous user posting on Reddit as an ex-employee. We can really only take this with a pinch of salt. Definitely fascinating, and it in a way makes sense when you look at all the BBB reviews. Personally, I wouldn't be paying this much for health services from someone who's apparently a chiropractor or may even not be a chiropractor. But it's safe to say all this is fascinating. I mean, what kind of rabbit hole did we accidentally fall down today? All I was trying to do was trying to figure out if Logan's statements of him were true or not. And speaking of his statements, the other statement that Logan alleged that he stole $1.5 million from his kids, I guess we'll dive into that as well. So again, Dr. Pompa has not officially responded to Logan as of recording this video, but he did respond to this in a video 3 years ago. Although, I don't know if they're allegations anymore, as they did plead guilty and get probation for this.
We're the Pompa family, and we have one amazing story, but the purpose of this video is to tell our whole story, because unfortunately, we had part of our story told in newspapers. And fake news, well, it really has caused a lot of grief in our family. And we really never thought we would have to tell
this part of the story.
Is it fake news if they pleaded guilty? Okay, actually, for context, let's check out this fake news first. A local couple has pleaded guilty to stealing more than $1 million from their adoptive children's trust fund. The twins witnessed their father do the worst possible thing to their mother than himself. Yeah, well, that is scarring. I did not expect to read that. 9 years later, their adoptive parents, 46-year-old Daniel Pompa and his wife, 44-year-old Marilee Pompa, pleaded guilty to stealing $1.5 million from the twins' trust fund. That is beyond devastating. I can't even imagine how to operate as a human being after going through that. So first that happens, then your new parents rob the trust fund. That is absolutely insane. $1.5 million invested conservatively, that would be like, I think it like doubles every 14 years if it's like a 5% return. So if they let that compound, that is set for life money for these twins. Well, there's more to the story. Their grandmother, Olivia Phillips, is devastated. 2 orphan grieving children, taking everything that their parents worked so hard for and spending it all themselves. She said the Pompas went on a wild spending spree, first buying $1 million house, then spending $458,000 to renovate a condo in Seven Springs, donating $110,000 to Northway Christian, and spending $22,000 on 2 home theater systems. This is in addition to $26,000 in payments on a Mercedes-Benz, $3,000 on furs, a $1,000 donation, and $500 on a brass monkey toilet paper holder. Wait, what? Why did they include that? The twins are now 16. Phillips says the Pompas won't let her see her children because they blame her for their legal troubles. She has a message for her grandchildren. "We miss you very much," she said. The Pompas have been ordered to serve 16 years of probation and pay restitution. They are still living in a Seven Springs condo and still have custody of the twins. Okay, I'm trying to understand how this can be referred to as fake news. It seems like they just kind of laid out what was in the lawsuit and added an interview with the grandmother. I guess this is the grandmother's side of the story, so let's hear some of theirs.
Chiropractor steals from orphans. Doctor and wife steal from orphans trust, whatever the headlines read at the time, I don't know. But when I read those articles, I said, man, I don't like this person or this family. And so with that, today's goal is to tell the rest of the story. And I have to speak for all of us and say, I really don't believe that I thought we'd ever have to tell the rest of the story. But unfortunately, so many people read that and, like I would, think, gosh, these are horrible, horrible people.
It doesn't sound good. It really does not sound good. Nor does it look good that you pled guilty.
Because a family member who obviously wasn't gifted the children,
Custody.
was not given custody, took some issue. We ended up in that court battle that you read about. You know, I mean, look, when I read it, it looked bad. You can make things look bad. I mean, it looked like we took the trust money from these orphans and spent it. But everything that was in that article. Well, that was my.
Does that sound like a good thing to do? Just 24 hours, Anthony Fantano has been caught, has been exposed laughing at Trayvon Martin's death. Yeah, with his all right buddies caught saying the N-word with the hard R on video and deleting posts from last night where he hinted that Drake was a pedophile. This is what happens when white men pretend to be part of the culture just to grift off of it, and y'all let him sit at the table this long, shaking my head. Wow. Wow. So he makes a video and he says, taking accountability.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and in case you haven't noticed, I'm getting torn apart on Twitter, which is nothing new.
You deserve it. You've been participating in online hate mobs against people, virtue signaling on everybody on Twitter. You've done this to me multiple times, and now it's happening to you. And you're never going to get people that are going to dislike you to ever forget about this. There's never going to be a moment where you're going to be able to move past this. Everybody is always going to think of you as a fake fuck. It doesn't matter what you're going to say in this video. You already look like a clown, and there's nothing that you can do about it. That's it. It's over.
For me personally.
Well, let's hear the reason why he did it.
Reached a fever pitch that's making a lot of people concerned and angry, and even thinking I'm covertly a racist, bigoted.
Well, you're not covertly a racist, bigoted person. You were overtly a racist, bigoted person. Nobody said covert. What are you talking about? Laughing at Trayvon Martin and then saying the N-word with the hard R with all your friends. I mean, that sounds kind of racist. And again, if I did this, here's a good question. If I got caught with this, do you think Anthony Fantano would be making tweets and talking shit about me? What do you think? Absolutely. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it.
Person. Now, these are the same sorts of allegations that I have fought against and won before, and I'm happy to do it again because I have nothing to hide and I know they're not true. I don't want to waste anyone's time, so let's just get straight into it. With Exhibit A, this clip right here, which has just been going absolutely viral, and here's my explanation for it. Early on in my YouTube career, I had some pretty lax views when it came to quoting the language of others, and my point of view was, what does it matter? It's not me saying it. I'm relaying a lyric or a sentiment or a point of view expressed by someone else. I'm even embarrassed to say that I don't think it was...
Yeah, you should be. This is embarrassing.
Until like a few years ago that I actually changed...
Don't tell me that you're gonna go the iDubbbz, now I've learned how to be empathetic. Please, please do not do this.
And censored the text of this 2014 Death Grips review title. And as you can see in the comments of this video, there's even a lot of discourse and jokes flying around about me not saying the title. And at the time, this sort of thing left me feeling like this is more or less a moral gray area. I extended this attitude.
It's not a moral gray area. It's an optics gray area. You don't care about this at all. That's why you were out there saying it back in the day. You don't give a shit about any of this. You're sitting around doing this, and the reason why is because it makes you look good. It never had anything to do with morals or ethics. It had everything to do with optics and people's perception. And now people have seen a crack in the facade, and they realize that it is, in fact, not real.
To other pieces of content I have made, like this one, where it is also clear I am quoting someone, even in the tightly edited state this clip has been presented in. And
I wouldn't even be mad if he wasn't such a virtue signaler who wanted to cancel you in XQC. Exactly. These are the kinds of people that advocate constantly for accountability. Well, in my opinion, I think let's give it to him.
And I'm doing so is to voice disagreement with calling people racial and homophobic slurs as a bit, which is what the original content creator I was quoting was doing. And he himself has since apologized for this whole era of his career. But I'm not getting deeper into the weeds than that because this video isn't about him. Because the fact of the matter is I should have and could have just censored myself while pointing this behavior out.
That's right.
But unfortunately, my position left me feeling kind of nonchalant because it's not the words themselves, but the sentiment of them.
It's because you didn't think it would make you look bad. That's the reason why. Everybody knows that you saying and repeating the word isn't a big deal. But you're doing all these mental gymnastics and turning yourself into a pretzel to justify why it's bad to do and why you did it then. But to any reasonable person, everybody knows why. It's because you did it for optics.
Being expressed that's truly disgusting.
That's it.
And sure, while that is true on some level, explicitly quoting him was in bad form and just unnecessary. I would have still gotten my point across and done so without upsetting anybody had I taken that approach. And I feel this way now because of an important realization I only made after tons and tons of people were watching me, that I don't make content just for me, I do it for an audience. And I can't dictate what anyone watching may or may not find harmful or offensive. No,
but you try to constantly. Like you didn't want to review the Kanye album, and then you were getting mad at me for saying that video game characters, people don't want bald, ugly women for video game characters. You constantly want to tell other people what to think. That's all you do on Twitter.
More than with a review, I can dictate what music you do or don't like. So I would.
You can't even go 10 seconds in an apology video without cutting yourself. I mean, I think that really goes to show what's going on here, right?
Rather err on the side of caution and not hurt anyone by explicitly voicing language that doesn't exist in a vacuum, even if I am quoting it. And that's actually been my approach for a very long time now. I mean, this clip may be new to you, but it's actually almost 10 years old. If this was ever something I made a regular habit of doing, believe me, you'd be seeing more examples than this. All I can do is take ownership of having quoted these words in this way and obviously say that I'm sorry, which I am in fact sorry about this. Now, there are going to be some people watching this video.
They got this guy to apologize for quoting a rapper that said the N-word. This is so fucking embarrassing. Oh my God.
Who will say, no, that's not
Jesus
enough.
Christ.
I know you're a racist. I saw a clip of you laughing at Trayvon Martin's death, which I guess this is the clip.
Vegan invited me to an event
invited
that taught me about PETA's buying guide slash neoliberal whiteness and Trayvon Martin. Okay.
Dude, fuck Trayvon. I was thinking
Didn't this guy also collab with Sam Hyde, and then when it wasn't politically or socially acceptable to do so, he talked a bunch of shit about Sam Hyde too? I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Like Trey Melvin. I had a big thing with Trey Melvin.
Which I will agree, that doesn't look good. But believe it or not, the way this clip has been presented is a lie, and it's been heavily edited too. First off, I gotta say, the Drunken Peasants podcast where I was appearing in that clip is explicitly not a right-wing podcast. While, yeah, it's true the show has featured a pretty wild range of guests over the years, and the humor tends to run a bit edgy, they also regularly make fun of right-wingers, alt-right psychopaths, and the president. And in this clip that you just saw, I'm reading a super chat that is on the screen that was sent in by a viewer of the show. And the reason I'm jumping into reading it is that partially it is a dig at me, because on the show it's not exactly a secret that I'm an openly liberal vegan. And from there, here is what actually happens.
A vegan invited me to an event that taught me about PETA's buying guide slash neoliberal whiteness and Trayvon Martin. Okay.
Dude, fuck Trayvon. I was gonna. I was gonna say Trey Melvin, but it's no Trayvon Martin.
Man, you're so. You know what, Jeff? You're so right wing.
As you can see there, that is not the clip that is getting passed around. In this original clip, Jeff Holiday there on the podcast doesn't even finish his sentence.
You know what he was trying to do. You know, the full clip makes it worse. Like, so I don't even understand. What is this? We know what he said. Yeah, he didn't need to. It already was done.
He apparently gets Trayvon Martin mixed up with someone else entirely.
You are so dishonest. He just said Trayvon Melvin as a joke, so it didn't look like this is gaslighting. Yes, he's gaslighting so hard. This is pathetic. This is so fucking pathetic. Oh my God. Total liar. Yeah. I mean, does he just think people are retarded? I mean, I guess so.
And I even call him a moron. Because that is obviously something a fucking moron would communicate. So, voila, that's actually what happened in that clip. With all that being said, I realized a long time ago that I really do need to be careful about who I talk to and what...
Jesus Christ, bro. Can you imagine being one of these people? Oh my God. God. This is... what a bitch. I know. This is so embarrassing. This is so fucking embarrassing. It's amazing.
Platform I appear on publicly, because in the eyes of the wrong person, any association or appearance can be read as a deep tie or an endorsement of an idea that I don't fucking agree with.
So instead of actually standing by what you do agree with and acting in good faith and then letting people make whatever decisions they want, you allow them to completely dictate and control your behavior by approaching you in the most dishonest and unfavorable way, and the way you reward them is by apologizing. Great. I'm sure that's going to go over really well for you.
Like, for example, if I did a
What a disingenuous person he is.
Stream with this guy tomorrow.
Fucking a dude, will you let him fuck you?
No.
Why not? Suppose he's like, yo, bro, listen, yo, you always wanted me to be next to you. Now I could be inside of you. Pause.
Yo, I'm not gay.
Nah,
you suck a dick, though.
Yeah.
People might understandably think...
What does that have to do with Anthony Fantano? So academics said some weird shit to somebody? And what does this have to do with Anthony? Like, I'm just confused. What does this have to do with what is he talking about? And also, by the way, everybody was mad at academics for that shit. Like, people said it was wrong. Everybody said that. Because he was the one who posted the clip of Fantano on Twitter. Yeah.
That I endorse the idea of having sexual conversations with underage boys, and I don't. So while I know that nobody owes me their forgiveness and I can't control what everyone thinks about me, I'm going to continue to do my best to make sure that I'm not sending across the wrong idea, especially considering a lot of the music I review and endorse on a regular basis deals in some pretty heavy and serious topics. Topics that I would be completely in opposition to were I a bigoted weirdo. But as much as this is a principle of mine, I would also like to be spared the headache of just some freak trying to frame me disingenuously and make it seem like I'm okay with a child being killed by a racist vigilante, which is...
Oh, with Trayvon Martin. But they never even found that George Zimmerman was racist. Wait, George Zimmerman got off. I thought it was self-defense. Didn't George Zimmerman claim self-defense and win? Well, he's Mexican? Well, what did he just say?
Trying to frame me disingenuously and make it seem like I'm okay with a child being killed by a racist vigilante, which is...
He never said the person's race. Yeah, he got released. Yeah, so let me get this straight. The guy killed someone in self-defense, and you're apologizing, and now you're saying that he's a bad person. So this guy, oh my God. So he's making jokes about the kid that gets killed. He gets called out for it, and then he says that the guy that got cleared of fucking murder because of self-defense is a racist vigilante. Roaches, bro. Oh my God. This is sad.
Where the most truly aggravating thing about this whole situation comes up, because we currently live in a time where between ICE, between our current president who got in the position where he is after saying that Haitian immigrants are going to eat your pets, white supremacy is like really at a fucking peak right now.
That's a great point. Great idea to bring up white supremacy. You guys want to see a picture of George Zimmerman? That's right, guys. This is the face of white supremacy. Wow. I remember the media called him a white man. Yeah, they did, and they brightened his face. I remember this clearly. Yes, you're looking right now on a racist, white supremacist vigilante. Thank you, Anthony. Great insight.
Now, and because of that, it's vitally important that when things are being called out as legitimately racist, that those accusations actually mean something. But I guess instead what some people would rather do is water down the impact of that, deceptively edit clips.
You do this all the time. You misrepresent people constantly. You farm every single drama, anything that you can possibly say on social media that will make yourself look like you're better in the eyes of the woke people. You instantly do it. I've seen it now for years. It's pathetic and embarrassing. And now it's happening to you.
Make it look like...
he literally just did.
Like it when children are killed. All right, I don't think I have anything else to say here. If there's something I've missed, I will try to circle back. That is, if we are talking about a case of something I've actually said or done or felt. I appreciate you watching, even if from here you don't see it in your heart to forgive me. Okay, boom, forever.
How pathetic, bro. Oh my God, how fucking pathetic. Jesus, he missed the apology? You can never be woke enough. Yeah, I know, this guy's terrible at apologizing. It's because he's not sorry. Why would he be sorry? Number one, like him being on a podcast, this is the problem with people like Anthony Fantano, is that they are completely disingenuous and dishonest, and they court an audience of people that are equally disingenuous and dishonest. There's nothing wrong with him. Nobody cares that you quoted some guy that said the N-word 10 years ago on a rap song. Nobody gives a fuck about that at all. But what we do care about is the fact that you are openly virtue signaling constantly on Twitter. You are constantly talking down to people. You're constantly making up shit. You're constantly trying to misrepresent things. And you're talking about like, oh, the guy didn't finish his sentence and he said Trayvon Martin's name the wrong way. That means he didn't mean Trayvon Martin. He did that as a joke and you know it. You're gaslighting your entire audience because you think they're stupid. And unfortunately, you're right. And I think this is another, again, at this point, everybody is always going to think this guy is a joke. It is. And I think people have already disliked them for a while. But I feel like now, especially, now you're apologizing to the people that already don't like you. They're never going to like you. And it's just going to keep getting worse. He's just simply he is just another run-of-the-mill social media influencer that has turned into a fucking virtue signaler on the internet. A lot of people do this, and I'm going to tell you the reason why they do this. People might not want to hear this, but I'm going to say it. The reason why they do this is because they're not getting any attention for their actual content. They don't get any attention for their music reviews or their content anymore, and people don't like them as much anymore. They've kind of fallen off, and so instead of that, they piggyback on internet hate mobs online in order to create the illusion of relevancy. That's what's happened. They're so boring. Yep, there we go. What a loser. What a fucking loser. The UK free speech delegation.
Westminster now.
Uh-oh.
Well, good afternoon. I'm used to talking to MPs down here, but we're joined by 3 U.S. Republican congressmen who sit on the House Judiciary Committee. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this afternoon on GB News. Congressman Jim Jordan, if I can start with you. You are chairman of the committee. We're a long way from Washington. What has brought you over here this summer?
First Amendment to the Constitution. We're concerned about free expression here in the United Kingdom and in Europe, but we're primarily concerned.
So we're trying to help them. We're trying to get them back on track. Because, like, y'all getting ruled by a bunch of weird fucking Karens trying to import a bunch of people into your country. And you can't even talk about it, you get arrested. We're trying, guys. We're trying to help y'all out.
About the impacts your laws can have on American citizens. Under the First Amendment, American citizens enjoy 5 fundamental freedoms. Your right to practice your faith, your right to assemble, your right to petition the government, free press, free speech. I tell people all the time, the most important of those 5 liberties is the last one, our right to talk. Because if you can't speak, you can't practice your faith, you can't share your faith, you can't petition your government, you can't criticize your government, and you don't have a free press. That is the most fundamental right we have as free citizens. And when the government infringes on that, like we're seeing with the Online Safety Act, like we're seeing with the Digital Services Act in Europe, and then there's some spillover impact on Americans.
See, I'm going to tell you all the truth. The problem isn't really Real ID. It's the laws that make Real ID something that would make you get accountable for what you're saying. It's got nothing to do, really, like, Real ID wouldn't matter if you wouldn't get arrested for a tweet. The problem is the laws. Because people are already getting arrested for tweets now. They're getting arrested for them now. We don't have Real ID now. So how the fuck is it a problem? This is what we're going on. This guy for president? Yeah, and I'm telling you guys, like, if it was up to me, like, things would be a lot different. I tell you that. And they're trying to create things that spill over and other things. That was the point and why we were disagreeing with your tweet. Yeah, but like, I think that, and this is another thing why where there was like some dissonance between like the conversation we were having online about like the internet ID, is that I'm coming at this from a perspective of an American, but we have Australians and Europeans, especially people that are living in the UK, that don't enjoy the same privileges, or Canada, right, for that matter, that don't enjoy the same privileges and opportunities that we do in America to be able to speak our minds. So for you guys, Real ID on the internet is much more of an existential threat to your expression than it is for us here in America. And I understand that and I respect that. But my solution, again, is that you need to change your laws. I still think Real ID is coming. I think it's inevitable. And so when it gets here, You don't want to have these laws on the books. Privileges? Yeah, it's a huge privilege to have the First Amendment. It absolutely is.
Citizens, that is a concern. We had a witness last year in Congress. She was a journalist from Canada.
Yeah.
She made a great statement. She said, free expression is the hallmark of Western civilization. The ability to debate, the ability to argue and have debate.
This is something that is so true and so core. Western civilization, I think, is built off of the backs of Greek civilization, Greek ethics, Greek philosophy. This is the premise of all of that. If you don't have free expression, you don't have Western civilization. It's that simple.
And have votes and settle disputes that way, because the alternative to that is frightening. So
yeah, you don't have Western civilization without free speech, period.
This is critically important, and that's why we're here.
And Congressman Fitzgerald, there's a row today because the science minister has been very critical of Nigel Farage. We've got this Online Safety Act that has come in. The Prime Minister...
The only reason they're making the Online Safety Act is to stop people from complaining about migration. They don't give a fuck about the kids. If they did, they would have stopped them from being raped from the people that are migrating. They don't care about them. They never did.
Yesterday telling your president that there was absolutely no censorship with this, that it was all about...
It's a little bit harsh, but I'm just telling you the truth. It's obvious, isn't it? Yeah, duh.
Protecting children. Do you buy that?
It is.
I don't, and the American companies that we have been speaking to have laid out the case. Their legal teams have been battling on many fronts now over the last couple of years on just that issue of censorship and trying to kind of curtail whatever they're putting up online. So yeah. I think right now what you're going to see is a continued fight, kind of step by step, to make sure that this doesn't creep into America and is not something that we need to be worried about in the House of Representatives.
But Congressman Kiley, tech firms do have a duty of care, do they not? There are children accessing all sorts on the internet. As a TV company...
Suck my fucking... Fuck you, I'm...
Kiley, tech firms do have a duty of care, do they not? There are children accessing all sorts on the internet. As a TV company...
Suck my fucking... Fuck you, I'm so sick of hearing this. These are two completely different things. Protecting kids and having real ID on the internet is not the same as having a conversation about freedom of speech. Nobody is protecting someone's freedom of speech to upload sexual abuse material of children. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's advocating for that. Nobody wants that. The problem is that every single time that a conversation about this happens, it's constantly about, well, what about the kids? I agree that if somebody breaks the law on the internet, you should be able to find out and arrest them because they broke the law. Breaking the law on the internet doesn't mean that it's okay to do. That being said, the problem is the laws. That's the problem. It's not the internet. It's not the social media companies. It's the laws themselves. Because, again, they're getting these subpoenas by the judges because these people are violating speech laws. This would never be an issue if these people had the First Amendment. But they don't. It's the parents' fucking responsibility. There are 50 other things that we have extra government regulation on because you can't trust the parents to always make the right decisions for their kids. We have thousands of examples of that. I think that that's a very reductive argument. The real conversation here is about how this Speech Act and how these different types of legislation affect real average people. Freedom of speech does not equate to anonymity. No, it's two very different things. As we're trying to pull pirate software here, don't die on this hell, mate. Nobody agrees with this. It's not about agreeing with it or not agreeing with it. This is a literal fact and reality. It is a fact and reality that we have right now. There's no debating this at all. Yeah, it's not even a conversation. The problem with these countries applying these real ID laws isn't the real ID laws in themselves. It's the fact that the real ID laws make it easier to stop people from speaking their mind. And the core of that problem is not real ID, it's the fucking law. That's the issue. If you can't understand that, you're being stupid.
We
Huge
are
problem.
guided by regulations, the same for publishers. They're putting content out there. How do you deal with this in America? They do have a duty, don't they?
They absolutely do have a duty, and I think that narrowly tailored regulations designed to protect kids are appropriate and absolutely necessary.
Sure.
But what we're seeing with legislation like the Online Safety
And
Act...
we already have that, like COPPA, for example, where like kids under 13 can't be on media already. Like this isn't, again, I'm not advocating for anything new. We already have this now.
Digital Services Act in the EU is something very different. We are seeing a rising tide of censorship in the West. We see it in the EU, we're seeing it in the UK. We saw it in the US as well over the last few years, but we've turned a corner in our country in large measure thanks to the work of the Judiciary Committee under Chairman Jordan's leadership. And so we're here to dialogue with those who are fighting for this shared tradition between our countries here in the UK and in the EU, because this is, when it comes to a liberal democracy, this is the whole ballgame.
You have no idea what's the point in the UK. Of course, in the UK, there's free speech. There's not free speech in the UK. You don't have freedom of speech in the UK. It's just not true. You're living a lie. Look it up and educate yourself.
Can't have a functioning liberal democracy without robust protections for freedom of speech.
You don't have freedom of speech.
We also had some horrific murders a year ago. There were terrible riots resulting from disinformation online. Now the police are looking at tweets, at things that putting on social media to try to sort of stave off further trouble. What's your view of that and policing tweets? Back to you if I can.
Well, I mean, you look at recent history, seems to me many times the biggest purveyor of misinformation, disinformation is the government. I mean, just look at during COVID in our country. I think just about everything.
Look at the way they handle the migrant stuff over in Europe. They intentionally obfuscate the race and the ethnicity of the people that are committing crimes, especially sexual crimes. And the reason why is because they want to mislead the public, and they don't want the public to know that there's disproportionately more of this happening with migrants. This is the truth. If you want to talk about misinformation and and again, why are they doing this? They are doing it to mislead the public on purpose. That's bad. Stop using Europe as a country, for the love of God. You're right. Poland doesn't do this. Poland is based. But as far as I know, Sweden does this. Spain has this problem. The UK has this problem. Ireland and Scotland, to a lesser extent, have this problem. Germany has this problem. It's a lot of Europe. I know that it's not all of them, but it's most of them. France has this problem. Yeah, I apologize if you're in one of the few remaining based European countries. Keep fighting the good fight, guys.
Administration told us about COVID turned out to be wrong. They told us the virus didn't come from a lab. They told us that the vaccinated couldn't get the virus. They told us that the vaccinated couldn't transmit the virus. They told us masks worked. They told us 6 feet social distancing was based on...
This would have never been a problem if they didn't ban people for dissenting. Obviously, science is never a settled situation, and they were telling people what they thought was best at the time, and they were wrong. But the problem is that whenever you're taking shots in the dark, and then people say, wait a minute, I don't know if you're aiming in the right spot, and then you ban them for that, well, then guess what? You're going to alienate and radicalize a lot of people, and I think that's what's happened.
On science, they told us that this was the first virus in history where there's no such thing as natural immunity. So when you look at history, typically it's the government who gives all kinds of information that is not accurate. And the idea that you're you're going to go after political speech.
Yeah.
Kevin is right.
This is the real reason why it's happening. This is the reason why it's happening. And this is the big problem, is that these governments are trying to shut down people's political expression because it puts them at risk.
We don't want harmful material getting to kids, but there's a big difference between that and political speech and criticizing the government.
Yes.
For goodness sake. So we're very concerned about that, and that's
and they try to roll it all up into one in order to justify it. That's what's happening right now, and it's happening all over the world.
Again, that's why we're here. That's why we did our investigation last Congress, to point out the attacks on free expression and on free speech.
And Congressman Fitzgerald, J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference a few months ago upset quite a lot of people on this topic, talking.
No, you think and feel a lot. I've never seen you actually do some research. Why would I need to do research? I already know it. Yeah, I just come to conclusions, and then they're right pretty much every single time. Like, if it's such a bad idea to do that, then why do I keep coming out with positive outcomes? You really think that all these people coming from countries that have totally different laws and the ways that they treat women over there, you really think that there's not going to be an increase in bad behavior in that area? Especially when there's no vetting properly to make sure the ones that are acting in good faith or not? You don't need to have statistics for that. It's common sense. Like, I don't need to see 50 different studies to know if you put a wolf in a cage with 10 rabbits, there's not going to be 10 rabbits by the end of the day. I don't need to have like 50 fucking studies of this. I don't need to have a million levels of data and representation for it. It's common fucking a priori knowledge that every single reasonable person knows. Sorry. It's just the way it is.
About freedom of speech being suppressed, particularly in Scotland, with buffer zones. Do you think that that is sort of necessary for Europe and Britain to hear this sort of thing? And finally, what do you say to people that say, well, you didn't like it when Democratic, Labour activists went to support the Democrats? Why are you getting involved in our politics? What's your answer to that?
Yeah, I think Vice President Vance is right. I mean, there's absolutely been kind of a movement and a shift that's been going on. And it's not very obvious sometimes. It's something that you do have to kind of scrutinize and look for. But when you see it, you know it. And I think that's what the vice president was talking about.
Exactly. My friend asked me for a source when I told him that letting in hordes of unloyal migrants wouldn't be good for the social fabric of our country. Yeah. And also, by the way, the reason why people have such a fixation on trying to quantify everything like that without using their own common sense, it's not because I want you to understand that if you provided him evidence that this was the case, he would still deny it. They're only asking for evidence as a way to delay the inevitability of their opinion being wrong. They don't actually want evidence. They're just simply trying to find a way to refute your point of view.
And just finally, what do you say, Congressman Kiley, to people that say, why are you here getting yourselves involved in British affairs?
Well, we're first and foremost protecting our own citizens, because we've seen very specific examples of where suppressing speech actually impacts American citizens. And there's also this sort of globalizing effect, call it the Brussels effect, and certainly augmented by what's happening in the UK, where platforms are forced to change their policies in a pro-censorship direction that impacts citizens all around the world. And so at the end of the day, I think it's important that our allies, who we have so many shared values with, stand with us as we fight against forces that exist elsewhere in the world that are very much opposed to freedom of all kinds. And I think there's a lot more that we have in common in the way of values than divide us at this point. And I think these conversations are really healthy for everyone involved.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for talking to us on GB News Today. Really appreciate it.
Based.
Back to you in the studio. Clearly a tension between freedom of speech and keeping children safe. I expect
it has nothing to do with kids. Everybody can agree that weird stuff shouldn't be something that kids can see, and I think that most people are open to the idea of not letting kids on social media. This is a massive red herring. The real reason why they're implementing these laws for, the Online Safety Act, do you know who's they're trying to make safe? The public fucking government. That's who they're trying to make safe, not kids.
We'll be hearing a lot about this in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, Catherine Forster there. Some very, very clever men, in my opinion. I think they absolutely nailed it on the head. You know, free speech, in my opinion, has been under attack in this country for a very, very long time. And the online safety bill is the pinnacle of that tyranny. It really, really feels to me like Britain is heading in this abysmal direction.
And again, the problem is not the online safety bill itself. It's the fact that it empowers existing laws that we have right now. Or sorry, not we, but the UK has right now, and other places like Australia has, that are already oppressive to people and they can't speak out. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression is, as I said, you cannot have Western civilization without freedom of expression. It is the bedrock of Western civilization. If you are going against that, you're going in a completely different place. Western game, this is really sad, bro.
So I'm very much a homebody, almost embarrassingly so. And weekends are when I have the most time to dive into whatever game I'm currently playing through. Up until about 3 weeks ago, that was Clair Obscur, which, yes, I finally beat. But this weekend was no different.
The best game
It's midnight on Friday night, and I'm working my way through Stellar Blade while my half-started copy of First Berserker Kazan is staring at me from my backlog. And as I was running around Zion,
Bro, is this Infinity Nikki? Tell me right now, is this Infinity Nikki? I want to let you guys know that I've never seen the game, and I automatically knew what game it was because every gacha game is copy-pasted from each other, and the hearts as the fucking screen here. I've never seen a single image of gameplay of this ever.
Just clicked. Both of these games have super fun, fluid combat. Both have very attractive protagonists.
They do.
Both nail that one more try addiction.
You want to know what's really sad, guys? Is that in high school, I wanted to grow my hair out to be like this. It's bad, bro. It's real bad.
Keeps you glued to your screen, and they're both Korean made. As I realized
that sucks, right?
It hit me. When Korean developers quietly start dropping all these bangers? I started looking into it, and I guess this has just gone completely under my radar, but developers from China and Korea, places that
with Korean games, the characters are hot, the gameplay is good, but the game's pay to win. That's the way it works.
Historically haven't made double or AAA titles have really been knocking it out of the park
they have
lately.
been.
And obviously Japan has always had their share of home runs too. But these days, with how expensive games are becoming and with how awful some of our choices are, this really means a lot. We're naturally gravitating towards the games that respect our time and money, and over the past couple years, Eastern developers have been pulling us in like a black hole, and I'm loving it. It's no secret
there's another one too, right? And like this new game came out, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers came out kind of recently. Let me see if I can pull it up. This game is actually, it sold very, very well as far as I know. It had a peak of 131,000 players. So this is a brand new one that just came out that has that level of success. It's ass. I don't think it's ass. I think it's pretty good.
Elden Ring and the Soulsborne formula have inspired many of these Eastern developers. And how could they not? Elden Ring was a cultural phenomenon, and yes,
all of the negative reviews are from performance primarily, and they're completely deserved, and the performance in the game sucks massive dick.
Gamers claim Souls-like fatigue, but I think that fatigue only happens when the games are bad. So just like what Mr. Gunn said, it's really just bad game fatigue.
That's exactly, she's totally right about that. And also Souls-like games, the entire idea of something being Souls-like, I feel like there are a lot of games that are action combat games that have checkpoints with refillable healing items that you continuously go through that give you different ways of avoiding damage and fighting monsters and killing bosses. Like Dark Souls wasn't the first game that's ever invented this idea. It's been very common.
The thing though, these Eastern developers saw the genuine love and excitement people had for this genre and thought, we can make something players will love too. Most recently, we saw this with Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. There were optimization issues at launch, but you can still see that this smaller team was genuinely trying to make something they thought would resonate with players. And since launch, they've apologized, they've released patches, and they've even given away in-game loot.
Just fix the performance.
Come on, they're obviously doing their best and working for us. They made this.
These guys have got it. You have to optimize these games. Like, we've had so many, like Monster Hunter Wilds, Wu Chang, Wukong had a little bit of problems with this too. Like, these games need to be optimized.
Game for us, the players, and they want us to enjoy it and love it. That's the difference. Some developers are genuinely trying to make games with us in mind, and others just aren't. And the crazy thing,
they're making games for themselves. That's the problem, is that developers in America make games for themselves. And the issue is that nobody wants to be the average video game developer in America. They would much rather be Puppet, Timothy Chalamet, Wukong, John Souls, Kazan, or, the Jon Snow here in Crimson Desert. That's the reason why.
Is that these Eastern developers haven't discovered some secret formula. They're not doing anything new or groundbreaking. They're just getting back to the basics, making games that respect players and want them to have fun. So all of this got me thinking about the state of our industry. What is happening with Western developers, and how are they so far behind their Eastern counterparts? Now, before we get into the whole East versus West thing, let's be real. The gaming industry is getting squeezed from every direction. We've now got credit card companies trying to censor gaming content, games disappearing when servers shut down, hence the Stop Killing Games initiative, rising development costs making everyone risk-averse, live service pressure from investors.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That's where we're at right now with video games. In my opinion, I think that we are in a golden age of video games, but I think that it is also a gilded age of video games, where we have a massive amount of high-quality games. We are also reducing the amount of freedoms that we have as consumers through live service. We are having an encroaching amount of microtransactions that are being forced into video games. And I think that especially Western AAA video games are recycling the same formulas ad nauseum, to the effect that people don't even want to play the games anymore. And so I think there's just been so many of these that have happened that people are just tired of it at this point.
Prioritization of modern ideology over good gameplay.
The consumers allowed it. They did.
And us just paying more than ever for games that we don't actually own. The entire industry is getting hit from all sides. Eastern developers, Western developers, everyone's facing the same stuff one way or another. But how these developers respond is what tells you everything. When faced with the challenges, some developers are doubling down on actually caring about us, the players, because they understand we're the ones who can actually help them succeed, while others have just...
It's also an investment, right? I mean, like, these Asian companies are not doing it because they love us or something. They're doing it because they think it's the best option for their business. And what they're learning is that they're right. That's the issue, is that these developers in China and Korea and Japan, their goal is to sell copies of a video game. And developers in America specifically, their goal is to send a message. And sorry, one of those things is just simply, and also the problem is that the message sucks. It's some weird contrived, it's basically like a fat 15-year-old goth girl's imagination of what if everything that she thought was right and her parents were wrong about everything else. That's basically it.
Stopped listening to us entirely. So let's do a little dissecting of what the West has been up to. Now, be warned. It's a little bit depressing, but don't worry, we'll get through it together. And then we'll look at how Eastern developers are truly here to save the day and how not all hope is lost. Going back through gaming history...
And this is another reason why it's great to have a global economy, is that because Western developers effectively had, for a very... I think Wukong, there were 2 points of massive breakthrough. The first point was Genshin Impact, because that was the first gacha game that broke into the American Western audience in a big way. And then the second point was Black Myth Wukong. Because at the beginning, they said, okay, we can at least get people to play gacha games. And then Wukong comes out and they said, we can at least get people to play AAA quality, fucking insane single player games that are made with our culture and our style. Lost Ark as well. Yeah, Lost Ark was a little bit. Yes, those were the games that genuinely penetrated the Western market and made way for all of the other games to come out and be successful. And I think that it's very obvious that you're seeing all of these other games coming out of China as a response to Black Myth Wukong. And I think if Black Myth Wukong didn't sell the way that it did, you would not be seeing those games.
Such a bummer, because there was a time when Western AAA developers actually worked to make games with us in mind. You could truly feel that they really cared about what we wanted. Remember Assassin's Creed 2? Ubisoft spent years reconstructing Renaissance Italy with historian-level accuracy, all while giving us a beloved protagonist and story that made you care about the world even more. It wasn't just for profit or to push some agenda. The team behind the game clearly had pure love and passion for what they were making, and it was obvious that they wanted the players to enjoy it. BioWare used to obsess over connecting with players. They'd spend months, years, perfecting conversation systems and Mass Effect and Dragon Age because they understood that's how we bond with the characters. Thousands of lines of dialogue, branching narratives that actually mattered. It was all because they knew that's what their players would love.
Exactly.
And Rockstar, their track record speaks for itself.
They do, and there's no reason to think that GTA 6 is going to suck. I hope it doesn't.
GTA, Red Dead Redemption, they are making games 100% catering to the player's experience, which is why I'm really hoping GTA 6 doesn't disappoint. But across the board, going back through gaming history, there are so many examples of games that were made by people who wanted to bring players joy. You could feel the love in every mechanic, every system, every decision. Western AAA gaming was in its golden age. So what happened? Well, looking at the state of the industry right now, it's clear that so many studios have replaced respect and passion with greed, contempt, laziness, and just...
That's what's really weird to me too, is that there's so many people that work on these Western game studios that actively hate gamers. In what other industry would this make any sense? If you hate people that eat meat, you shouldn't work in a steakhouse. If you hate people that play sports, you shouldn't work at Academy. It's such a weird paradigm that we have, isn't it? Why would you do that? It's so crazy.
Nonsense. They started shipping broken games at full prices that continued to creep up, cramming in microtransactions and live service monetization, expecting us to pay for unfinished products, then buy the rest as DLC. They've let cultural pressure override what we actually want. Now character designs have to go through committees that are terrified of making anyone attractive or appealing. They prioritize...
Well, they don't want to make anybody mad. Look at what happened with Sydney Sweeney recently. Is that you have a bunch of these fat women that are just mad because there's a thin girl who's attractive that's on the camera, and it's making them feel bad about being 280 pounds.
Poorly executed.
And they're crying, calling American Eagle Nazis and everything like this, and all because they just don't want to be reminded that they're fat. That's the only reason why it's happening.
Modern ideologies over actual compelling narratives and characters. Everything they do at this point is for what the modern audience desires.
Only 280?
But where are they? Where is this audience, and why aren't they buying these games? I mean,
because they never did. It's a fake audience of people on social media that it's kind of like fake fans. And you want to know a game that has a lot of, like, there's a lot of games that have fake fans. Like, for example, I think Metaphor had a lot of fake fans whenever it came out. Most of the people that said that they were big fans of Metaphor didn't beat the game. I'm sorry, but you can't be that big of a fan of a game if you didn't beat the game. South of Midnight? Yeah, South of Midnight is another great example. Is that everybody was saying how good this game was, but nobody came out to buy it. And you want to know what happened to that studio? Well, welcome home. Back to McDonald's. That's it.
Just look at the lineup over the last few years. The Concord team allegedly spent well over their $200 million budget just to make both a game and characters that appealed to no one. And then they shut down after
Literally
2 weeks.
no one.
Dragon Age the Veilguard was in development for 10 years and somehow still launched with insanely awkward and lecture-heavy dialogue in a game where dialogue is everything. The Saints Row reboot, with over $100 million budget, completely ignored fan concerns and just steamrolled ahead to failure and ultimately the developer's demise. And don't even get me
Yeah, of course, because these people don't play video games. Weirdos that dress and act like this don't play video games. That's the thing. If you're making an action combat video game, your audience is Western guys. That's it. Young Western men. And if you don't understand that, you're going to have a lot of problems.
Started on Ubisoft, Star Wars Outlaws only sold 1 million copies in its first month, despite their massive...
1 million people bought that game? Oh my god. How?
Marketing spend, causing their stock to crash to a 10-year low. Then there's Assassin's Creed Shadows and Skull and Bones. Flop after flop.
Speaking of Skull and Bones.
With these same awful formulas, costing the company over $178 million in losses for the last year. And their CEO keeps making these tone-deaf comments about it all. He can't be stopped. The list goes on and on. Suicide Squad, Redfall. What's the result of all of this? Mass layoffs across the industry. Studios shutting down.
Layoffs are going to happen no matter what because AI is taking over everybody's jobs and it's allowing people that are very competent to do the jobs of 10 people rather than one person doing that one job.
And these companies bring all of this upon themselves. They cut corners, push low-effort development, and chase that mythical modern audience instead of truly serving the players who are actually supposed to buy their games. Studios that have been around for decades are getting shut down left and right because they followed these awful formulas, prioritizing monetization over quality, ideology over gameplay. There has been so much money wasted. This is basically the state of Western AAA games. Like I said.
And this is the thing is that like I've tried to push against this and say this, and what I think is really kind of sad is that journalists and other people that are like virtue signalers on the internet have put forward this idea that gamers actually want this type of like weird character design. And what they've done effectively is they've cost all of these people their jobs. These people only care about getting likes on social media for saying the socially acceptable thing. But the reality is that the outcome of that is that studios get shut down and people lose their jobs. That's it.
Depressing. I mean, these are supposed to be some of the best of the best. We're talking millions of dollars here. Massive teams, huge historical successes, and somehow so many of their recent titles felt like they were made by people who just didn't care. Or at least didn't care nearly enough. And we're at the point now where it's become so easy to recognize that disconnect and the lack of effort. I mean, you can basically tell immediately when you see a new trailer whether or not the game is gonna be a hit or a miss. Yes.
Of course. Because nobody wants to look at a character that looks like this. This is clearly not made for the average gamer audience. This is made to appeal to a select group of very radical and very loud activists, basically.
Still looking at you and that beautiful glistening head. But all of this brings us to good news. When you look at what's been happening in the East, the small teams of developers in China and Korea are fighting to put out double and AAA games while facing these same pressures. And so many of them are succeeding. The passion for what they do is shining through. They're fully focused on respecting their audience and giving us, the players, what we want. Fun fact, Black Myth Wukong's team spent 4 years traveling around China to 3D scan real locations out of pure love and authenticity. You can feel how much they cared about the source material, story, and the characters. I love that little Buddha. And they shared that passion with us at every step. And you know what? It worked. Black Myth Wukong cost around $42 million to make and has sold over 25 million copies. That's what happens when players feel like someone actually...
That's what happens when you make a good video game. Can you imagine that? Wow, you make a good game and people buy the game. What the fuck?
...cares about them versus trying to force things on them that they don't want. Stellar Blade gave us a beautiful female lead and calculated physics for every single movement, while refusing to compromise on a 60 FPS. The game launched pretty much bug-free too. That's them caring about our experience, and you can feel it in every animation, and the numbers prove it. Stellar Blade hit 3 million copies sold, with 1 million copies on PC in just 3 days when it launched on Steam. I mean, that's a legit accomplishment, right?
It was a massive accomplishment. The game was very good. I beat the entire thing.
Pretty protagonist and good gameplay really are an unbeatable combo. Another recent one is Lies of P. They took the Souls-like formula.
This was the first Souls-like game that was like legitimately actually really, really fucking good. Like, I didn't like some of the boss mechanics, but like in general, this is a great game.
And crafted this haunting, twisted Pinocchio-like world with such attention to detail and polish that showed genuine love for both the fairy tale and the players who loved the genre. The market responded, and Lies of P sold over 3 million copies, hitting 1 million in its first month alone.
Holy
and
shit.
this also just gives me a chance to say,
and also this is how good the game was. It hit its peak viewership, or sorry, its peak player count on its DLC. That is ridiculous.
Eastern developers across the board are not afraid of making games that look good. Attractive, beautiful characters that aren't trying to check boxes, but are just trying to draw the player in and add to their experience and enjoyment. No intentional nerfing of their looks, no agendas, no ulterior motives, no nonsense. Just good-looking, pretty, attractive characters and designs. And I've said this before, but I don't understand why this is so hard for Western developers. Stop making your characters less attractive on purpose. But getting back on track, are all of these Eastern games perfect? No. I had the occasional frustrations with Black Myth's hitboxes, and I wouldn't say Stellar Blade's story is my absolute favorite, but
Stellar Blade's story is okay. The problem I think Stellar Blade has is that there's too much. Like, there's too many like areas that you need to clear, especially whenever you get to like that like a space station, where like you don't have like there needs to be a better tempo between like bosses, and like there's a lot of things that I would criticize Stellar Blade on. I think it's a great game, but like there are some gameplay functionalities that I think are not great. The open areas suck. I thought the open areas were great, but the pacing is the main problem. Yeah.
here's the thing.
Interesting, a combat leader in the game. Great game.
Just like with what I was saying earlier with Wu Chang. They're clearly trying. They're at least putting in the effort, and you can easily see that these developers are working to make something they hope will love. The genuine care still comes through, even if the execution isn't always perfect. Yes, we want to get our money's worth and don't want to buy broken things, but from what I've seen across the internet, we're not expecting perfection, even at the AAA level. If you can see that the developer is valuing...
I really think that I don't know, like people think that it's quirky how Bethesda games don't work properly, which is like kind of, I think it's a little bit revealing. But in a general sense, I think it's true that, like, yeah, if a game has a couple of bugs, nobody really cares about it that much, as long as the game works and plays in a decent function.
And respecting us, we're genuinely pretty forgiving, right? And it's clear that these developers are at least attempting to do that and serve their audience well, even when they don't nail every single thing. The total gap and difference between the approach to development between Eastern and Western devs is just so massive at this point. It's almost like they're going in complete opposite directions of each other. One is obviously right, and the other thinks they're right while blindly charging ahead into the fire. And since we're talking about developers serving their audience, I feel like I can't make this video without at least mentioning that there are still some incredible Western indies who are fighting the good fight. Claire Obscure with Sandfall Interactive, pouring love.
This game was insane. Like, it's actually crazy. I remember playing this game and thinking to myself, like, it was like I had this like with Elden Ring, with Black Myth Wukong, with Expedition 33, like maybe 2 other games I can't think of right now, like Dark Souls 1. I'm like, oh, okay, I remember why I love video games. And it was just, it's so far and above better and higher quality than basically anything else really that's on the market. It just makes the other games look like a joke. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Yeah, it's not even like it's like a game like this, in my opinion. You can't even compare it to like Assassin's Creed Shadows or something like that. It's not even in the same universe.
Into every story beat, accompanied by great gameplay, sold over 3 million copies, and now they're having meetings with Square Enix. I'm not a card girl, but Balatro was made by one person over 2.5 years and sold over 5 million copies, finding real success with its audience. Animal Well spent 7 years in development to create a highly praised Metroidvania that, during launch month, outsold every first-party Nintendo game on the Switch's eShop.
Huge Donkey W. Donkey's studio was the one that published this game. Massive success for him. Huge, huge success.
And another Crab's Treasure, the Souls-like from Agro...
Yes, this game was so fucking good. It was insanely fucking good. I am so mad that more people don't know about this game. This is probably one of the best games that I played as a Souls-like. It was so clever. Like, the fact that they found bro, the fucking trash coming down and it being like some sort of prophecy, and it's the back of like, you know, Captain Crunch, and it's a treasure map on it, and you have to follow it to go find something in the game. That's so fucking smart. That's so insanely fucking smart. That's the kind of storytelling that, like, that I think that's the kind of stuff that like inspires people to want to tell their own stories. It's so clever.
Crab reached 500,000 copies sold in just over 3 months, with the developers saying, you can't engineer virality, but you can put heart into the game. Heart. That's what we're talking about. Baldur's Gate 3 has sold over 15 million copies. You can feel how much Larian loves this game along with its audience. Hogwarts Legacy sold over 30 million copies because someone finally tried to give us the Harry Potter experience we've always wanted. When you look at these games...
Hogwarts Legacy, I wish it had more content and more like the game was like, I think it was a 8.5 or so. I think it's probably a 10 if you're a Harry Potter fan, 9.5. But it was a very, very good game.
You can clearly see a difference versus all the Western flops, right? The AAA disasters with their massive budgets will continue to be completely outperformed by developers who show genuine love, care, and appreciation. The pattern is crystal clear. When developers make games for us, we respond, even when the games aren't perfect. That response sends a clear message that developers who try will be rewarded over developers who couldn't care less. And that message
that's also what's really good about having a international gaming market now, is that now we aren't locked into which version of bald, masculine, female role for an action combat video game do we have to choose. And this is why Western developers are totally changing their perspective on this. I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but a lot of these video games nowadays don't have any of that representation at all. It's because nobody wants it. Nobody wants to look that way. Most bald women wear fucking wigs. Why? It's because they don't want to be bald. It's just that simple. And so now that you have, I think, so many examples of it being successful, you know, I don't think we're going back. I really don't. I think that ship has sailed. Like, the age of the woke video game protagonist, you know, having an unclear gender, androgynous character design, I think this is dead. It's totally fucking dead.
Creating a beautiful renaissance. You know that moment when you start a game and within minutes you're like, oh, this is going to be...
And here's one of the reasons why it's dead. It's because we've killed it. The amount of negative feedback, hate, criticism, and negativity that these games have received has totally and also the fact that they don't sell well. Like, even if, like, everybody criticized Genshin Impact, oh, it's for, like, pedos, or, oh, it's just gambling, it's just a shitty game. It doesn't matter, right? Because the game sold well. These games don't sell well, and all of the players and everybody that has, you know, it's been outspoken and shit on these games, that we have made the developers afraid to release games like this. And that was the goal. Mission accomplished. Go woke, go broke. That's right. There will be more woke games because they're in the pipeline for so long, they have to release them. I think that there'll probably be some, but when they are, we will grave dance on every single one of them. Yep, there it is. And I think it's going to keep happening. It's not over yet, but almost. Yeah, there's probably going to be a couple. I mean, I don't think there's never going to be another one, right? But like another new developed game like this, very, very, like, there are just too many examples of failure for any legitimate company to want to invest money into it, knowing that they're going to lose millions of dollars in the process.
Good. That feeling is coming back to gaming. Because when developers prove that actually caring about players works, it gives everyone else permission to care again too. When studios see Black Myth Wukong making $1 billion, or Stellar Blade having immediate success on Steam, suddenly
this is the reason why Western developers and Western journalists get so afraid and upset about Eastern games. It's because whenever Eastern games break the mold and they don't follow the fake rules that the people that are in control have created and fabricated, like, oh, you need to have this type of representation, that type of representation, you can't have male and female, etc. As soon as you have a break in the matrix there, it shows everybody else in the market that actually know this isn't the norm, actually know people don't want this, actually know you don't have to design a game this way, and it totally shatters their narrative. That's why they're so argumentative and so hostile towards Eastern games. It's because Eastern games show that their stranglehold on the culture doesn't exist.
The whole industry has to choose.
That's the
Start
reason.
actually thinking about your players, or watch the developers who do care about us leave you behind. This success is spreading.
Right.
More Chinese and Korean studios are feeling confident that caring about players works at a AAA scale, and they're branching out beyond Souls-likes into...
You're forgetting Naughty Dog's new game. It clearly has a non-binary main protagonist, and you can bet that it will make big money. Not that much as Last of Us, but still plenty. Let's say that game makes $100 million. I think it costs probably a 250. The reality is that even if a game sells very well as a AAA release, that doesn't necessarily mean that it generated a profit. That's the issue. And also, like, you're thinking of Intergalactic. There is so much negativity with Intergalactic that I don't think that it can overcome the negativity, no matter what it is. Unless it's like Elden Ring quality gameplay, it's dead.
Every corner of gaming, RPGs, horror games, action titles, bringing that same respect for players wherever they go. Just look at what's coming. Tides of Annihilation, which I'm super excited for. Phantom Blade Zero.
Tides of Annihilation is Final Fantasy 16, but it's a hot girl instead of a hot guy.
Crimson Desert finally launching, hopefully.
The unemployed. Kai Cenat's career is finished.
Day for the unemployed. Kai Cenat's in hot water and he can't even swim.
Now, I'll be real. I don't know what Kai Cenat would possibly be in hot water for, so I guess we're going to figure this out. Is there actually beef between Kai Cenat and Jinxie?
See, a popular special needs streamer was playing Clash.
Ain't no fucking way you just called him special needs. I will be real. Would I be surprised? No, not really. I mean, I feel like you do got to be a little bit retarded to go live on stream. I really do. I feel like you got to be retarded and you got to be a narcissist, because there is no way anybody who's not special needs starts out by saying, I want to be a video game streamer on the internet, and actually takes themselves seriously, that at least doesn't have an ego of saying, yeah, I deserve hundreds of thousands of people to listen to my opinion because I'm just that good of a guy. Like, I'll be real, guys. You need an ego for this fucking field, and you need to be retarded 100%. I'm somewhere on the spectrum for sure. For sure. But I don't have an ego. I'm one of the good ones, guys. I'm so humble. It's ridiculous. I would actually argue to say that I'm one of the most humble streamers on the platform.
Royale, and they had a duo stream planned, which Kai Cenat abandoned to do something else.
No. What are you talking about? What the fuck is this?
No.
Now, chat. What the fuck is this?
No.
Right here, bro? It's a static.
All right, chat. I'm gonna go to the gym, bro. I don't even know what's going on. All right, I'm gonna see y'all boys, bro. I tried to set up a tourney. I don't know. I'm gonna see y'all boys tomorrow. All right, bro.
Not only did he
K in Kaizenet stands for? Snake.
To dedicate a day.
There's a reason God made you 5'4". It's to contain that massive ego of yours. Kaizenat, more like Kaiserat.
Bro, y'all
Yep.
just vibed.
Kaiserat.
Jinxie game. You said what? I just messed up Jinxie shit. How?
Yep.
Because he was ready for us. I didn't want to do the IRL shit, but he just ended. Like we were supposed to play with him.
You fucked it, bro. You fucked it.
Who said that? Like, I don't know how we supposed to know that. Cause
You fucked it, bro.
Bro, we had to communicate with him, bro.
Yep. You fucked
he
it all
really
up.
was ready.
Albeit, he only
bro.
made a response
Nah,
after,
fuck
you know,
him.
the hate was too much.
I don't accept his apology. I don't accept it, bro. No, absolutely not. I do not accept this.
To ignore, at least he's taken responsibility and, you know, actually feels bad for it. Misunderstanding. Jinxie didn't know AMP had an IRL bit. Yeah, because AMP and Kai can't communicate. It being a misunderstanding changes nothing. They were hella disrespectful to Jinxie, and he's very likely only acting sorry to avoid hate. Bare minimum respect would be to tell Jinxie beforehand that they had another event planned.
True.
Like, how is Jinxie supposed to know if you keep him in the dark?
True.
Not intended. Now, a lot
True.
of people are saying that Kaizenat ripped off Clash Royale from Jinxie, but obviously the game is much bigger than Jinxie, and he doesn't own the freaking intellectual rights to it, but still, kinda shady. The only thing Jinxie owns is a EpiPen. No hate, but...
Hey, Jinxie, I will say this. If you're looking for another large streamer on the same scale as Kaizenat, I will play in your Clash Royale tournament. I will clear my whole week for you because I'm just that good of a guy. I will. Honestly, I'm bigger than Kaizenat. I'm one of the most humble streamers on the platform. I will clear my schedule and I will play Clash Royale with you, man. You're welcome. As long as you Venmo me $5,000, bro. Absolutely. Because I'm your boy, man. I'm your boy.
Kaizenat don't care unless he benefits from it. Ratsenat at it again. He's only doing it because he's getting hate. It's not even genuine. I'm just gonna say it right now. You can't be genuine while streaming on Twitch.
Cheating.
I agree. Every other streamer on this platform, fake as fuck. Let me give you the Mount Rushmore of real-ass motherfuckers on this platform. Asmongold, Tectone, Wreckful, Etika, XQC, Kriparian, Dr. K, Forsen, Tyler One, Canute. Yep, those. All dems. Let's keep going. Oh, shit. Wait, where's my audio? Did my dog just break my audio? Good. Why? What? It's the video that has no audio at that part? Are you sure?
And plan. Like, how is...
Oh. I'm so fucking dumb.
Twitch.
Cheating.
Jinxie ends the stream after getting disrespected by AMP. Oh, no, bro. This might be the worst thing
Because
that
if
ever
this
happened.
dude doesn't even exist, like, genuinely, Kaizenat became everything he hated.
All this shit, you can't tell, but, like, they're saying, like, every slur in the book right now at each other, bro.
WestJet, of
They
course
don't
you're
care.
defending the white guy. Most
Yep.
Kaizenat viewers don't
It's
have the
fucked up.
attention span to make it this far in the video, but this isn't about race. This is about disrespect.
True.
And in fact, I'll let you know, one of my favorite YouTubers is Gideon. I have black friends, and I can rap juice.
Shit, man. That was so fucking foul, bro. All right, okay. Holy, that was crazy. He made a can't swim joke at the beginning. I didn't hear it.
World's Bad did all of the lyrics.
Oh man, this is so bad. Did Jinxie for real get ignored every single time he tried to talk in the Discord calls?
Kaiserat is such an accurate nickname. Look at this smug bastard.
That's so fucked up, actually.
Why are they acting like he's not a person, though? Rice Gum treated him with way more respect.
Damn.
AMP hate isn't forced enough. Let's be honest, folks. The only reason you'd even watch Kaizenat is if, you know, I show Speed's offline. I show Speed's waiting room.
Ooh, fuck, that is so scary.
Kaizenat got no aura.
Jesus.
All he could do is give away PlayStations.
I tried to set up a tourney. I don't know.
I didn't even think he did nothing wrong until people called him out, so shows you the type of character he is. Jinxie is so humble, even though he is so famous. They are disrespecting him. I'm gonna go to the gym.
Now, I'll be real. Like, do I think this is the end of Kai's career? No, absolutely not. But I will say, unironically, real shit, no beef. Like, no bit at all. I know this may seem so small to some people. This is actually mad fucked up. to bring him in a call 5 different times, ignore him every single time he talked, and then just walk away from the computer and cancel a stream setup that he did for like hundreds of thousands of people. Like, this is actually lame as fuck. Actually, this makes him lame. Like, that is lame as fuck. You got to have your head so far up your own ass to just straight up ignore a motherfucker in a Discord call, especially with that many fucking viewers that you were trying to be cool with. And then the only reason why you're taking accountability is because you got called out. I think that's so fucked up, actually. Like, but like unironically, actually, I actually feel bad for Jinxie because Jinxie's a good ass dude. Jinxie is a good ass dude. Like, one of the best streamers on the fucking platform. Like, on God, this actually pisses me off, and it shouldn't, because this is supposed to be like fun, but like the level of disrespect to Jinxie actually makes me so angry.
Real, man, real. All right, we're gonna have to end that segment right there.
Let's see. Alkai, what am I doing?
Good.
Why is it Alkai?
Good. Deserved.
No, tell Jinxie.
Yep, deserved.
Matter of fact, no. Okay, yeah. I'm going to Jinxie, bro.
Yep.
Just care after they started spamming L.
Yep.
Tell Jinxie they had something playing IRL, but nigga, I'm about to do a one-on-one. Tell Jinxie I'll do the one-on-one with him. I'm not doing it. I didn't want to do the IRL shit.
But you straight up did, you bum.
No, tell him come back on. He got on for real?
Yep.
Jinxie ended for real, oh God.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
To me, Kai Cenat just seems inauthentic. He's a PR machine, a PR merchant, if you will. And if you don't see that, it's all right. Not all of us were given the gift of triple-digit IQ.
Bro, we had to communicate with him, bro.
W. Kai. Sure, buddy.
Sure, buddy.
What makes it kind of funny is how confused Jinxie looks throughout this whole ordeal. He's
well,
like...
That's because Jinxie always looks confused because his mouth is agape 24/7, and he's licking his lips like a methed out crack hoe. Like, to be fair, that's just bro's face. That is just bro's face, and that's why I love him. That's why I love him. He's probably got Tourette's, like a super Tourette's.
Dude, what is going on? He's just lost for words. He's like, is this really happening right now? Yeah. Massive news for the unemployed, literally. Aiden was right.
Bro!
You guys need to stop asking me about the Jinxie and Kai Cenat beef.
Yeah, stop asking him.
I tried talking to Kai and Kai didn't